What is up, everybody? Welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers, and it's time for another PCP night of PCP Horrorfest 2020. I am so freaking excited for tonight. Tonight, we will be talking about the entirety of George A. Romero's Dead films. That's right. Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, and Survival of the Dead. We'll be talking about them in depth. We'll be talking about them fully, and we will be talking about them with a gaggly assortment of characters. I am Rockin Robbie. Here is good old Jab. It's Jelani. What's up, my man?
What's up, man? Good to be here, man. My favorite horror set ever. I love Romero, man.
Yeah, Romero is absolutely the best. I'm super excited to be here with my best friends talking about the best zombie movies that exist.
Yeah.
Also with us tonight, we got the man himself. It's Jay Strick.
Pop, pop.
Pop, pop. What's up, my man? How you doing?
Good, man. Excited to be here. This is my first time watching all these, so it was really fun. It was really, really fun.
Again, a first timer, so that's super cool. What's the score of the Lakers game right now?
I'm actually not watching it right now. I was going to be invested on this.
Yeah, me too. I'm not watching it either. Somebody in the chat, if you would, please keep us abreast of the
6 movies. I wanted to be present.
Yeah. Speaking of being present, we got Brooks in the house.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good, man. Real good.
All right. Also, we got Dylan from Dylan's Comics in the house. What's up, my man?
What's up, bro?
Loving that shirt.
Yeah, I love that shirt. You excited to talk about some Romero Dead films, man?
Look at that chain, man.
Yeah. Which one?
2 Chainz.
Two chains.
You know how he rolls. Speaking of 2 Chainz, we got to give a big shout out to Lee. Thank you so much for the super chat. We really do appreciate it. And he's going to catch us on the replay. We got some people in the chat. Feel free to to tag along with us as we discuss all of these Romero films. Strickland, the first time watching them. The rest of us pretty much revisiting these films. And I had so much fun on this revisit. It's like, we're doing Horror Fest, right? And this is the 4th night of Horror Fest, basically. The 4th movie that we've, or video, right? Even though Mummy Mondays and Dylan shows, but whatever. Anyway, we've been watching 1 movie a week. And now, when we were forced to watch all these movies so quickly, I was like, now we're in Horror Fest. And I was totally invested, and I had so much fun. I love these films. I have always loved these films since I first saw them. And I didn't first see these films till I was in high school. And it was Dawn of the Dead first, and then it was Night of the Living Dead, and then Day of the Dead I watched after high school. And I became obsessed with George Romero and his films, and I hunted down everything I could find, like Martin. There's Always Vanilla, Season of the Witch. I mean, I had all these obscure films, The Crazies, Night Riders, which is still one of my favorite movies in my collection. And I was just totally invested, and I loved this stuff. I loved everything that he did. I totally indulged in it, and I analyzed it, dissected it, I absorbed it. And he was a big influence on me in wanting to be a very independent creator. You know what I'm saying? Romero only made films that he truly wanted to make, and he had a career that maybe didn't necessarily go as big as it could have gone, but a lot of that is because he said no a lot, and he stood his ground, and I really respect him as an artist for that, and I love these films. Overall, I think it's a great franchise. The first 3, it could only ever have been the first 3, and it'd be great, and we used to call it the Trilogy of the Dead, remember? Mm-hmm. And then we have the last 3. The last 3 are not as strong as the first 3, but I still think they're enjoyable, and they all have things about them that I do enjoy. Jelani, what do you think about Romero's career and these films in general?
The man was a visionary. He had an eye for a genre that has never really been thought of. Actually, the dead coming back to life. It scares the crap out of me. It's next to insane werewolves coming after me, I think the zombies would be number 1. Actually, it's the fact that he was able to create a world where the dead could walk, and it not only tells you about them, it tells you about how we would react to them in each stage, and it shows a different side, a different slice of life, you should say, about class warfare, how people mistrust each other. They're all together, and it's all about how we would react if something like this happened. And I love all of them. I love them. I'm just such a fan. And I wish I met the man in person. Because I probably would have hugged him. it's just so many things. And I saw these when the first time I'd watched a zombie movie, I was probably 10 or 11. And I'm still shaking. Like, it still bothers me. Zombies have a thing where, I don't want to get bitten. I never want to turn. And I would be one of those people that be like, shoot me if I got bit. You shoot me now. Get this over with. I don't want to change. So yeah, the way Romero frames each one of these, each story is a different slice of life, like I said, and they're brilliant works of art. And this is my favorite genre. They're my favorite subset of horror movies. I love the zombie horror. So yeah, I'm a really big fan.
And Romero had a lot to do with it. He pretty much created this entire subgenre. And I love what you pointed out about the social commentary and the progressive nature of the work of his film. And he uses each of these films, which, I mean, it could just be in each decade a gore fest, really. Mm-hmm. But it goes beyond that. And he's actually trying to say something in each of these films. And and it's really easy to pick up on. And I think it's just raw and absolutely brilliant. What about you, Jay Strick? First of all, David Hatch wants to know, why are you wearing Betty Boop's hair? What do you think about Romero? Are these the only Romero films you've seen? And what do you think about the franchise overall?
Yeah, I think it is the only Romero movies I've seen. Because I asked you the other day, I was like, what else has he done? And you list all those movies, I don't really think I've seen any of those. So coming from watching these movies and getting to do it from a different vantage of never seeing them, I think was cool because I don't even think the only black and white movie I've actually ever seen, like sat down and watched, would probably be like Wizard of Oz, and that's technically not like half of the movie's not in black and white. So
you haven't seen a lot of great films then.
No, yeah, I'm missing out.
Citizen Kane?
Citizen Kane,
no, nope.
Sunset Boulevard.
Nope.
Frankenstein.
Young
Frankenstein.
Nothing.
Jimbo.
Nothing.
God.
No.
Seven Samurai.
No, nothing. I'm willing to watch all of them.
Nosferatu.
But yeah, so getting to watch them from my vantage of never seeing even really let's just be honest, I've not even really seen a black and white movie. Watching Night, I really, really respect Romero in the sense of like he was doing something no one was doing at the time, right? And even you take that a step forward with all these movies, like you said, you point out something, you can take something away from all of them, but like even after the trilogy, whatever you called it, the last three, like I thought it was impressive that like a lot of time had passed and he still was like, dude, he was like on some stuff, bro. Like Romero, like even which one is it? Is it the one with the handheld? Is
Diary?
That Diary? Like that was like 2006 or 7, and he was like on some stuff with like YouTube and like MySpace, and I'm like, bro, this guy is on it, man. And I love that social commentary and all that stuff that he was on, man. I really, really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. He was onto it right ahead of the time and the curve. And that was even the case in 1978 when they released Dawn of the Dead. Mm-hmm. The mall culture hadn't arisen yet.
Right.
But he kind of foresaw that. You know what I'm saying? And it's really interesting to see how it's filmed. Like Land of the Dead, which speaks so much about this post 9/11 America.
Yeah.
He was writing that. That was the one he was writing for the 90s. You know what I'm saying? And then it kind of morphed into that because he had difficulty, obviously, getting money. It's difficult to make movies when you want absolute final say-so and everything. And he's a maverick as far as that goes, and very, very important. What about you, Brooks? You're a maverick and very important in your own head. What do you think about Romero and the series overall?
Yeah, I like these movies a lot, and I think one of the things about them is like how consistently good you can be with this like simplistic idea of the dead coming back to life, and like every time like it doesn't get boring or stale to me. Like I never saw anything that was like I was getting zombie burnout or anything. I like how each time like society, there's like he's kind of showing like a different version of society and like how people would act in this situation. a lot of having to do with with time periods and stuff like that too. But yeah, these movies were fun to watch.
Yeah, it was a great revisit, man. Fantastic. Dylan, I'm about to get to you, ask you what you think about Romero's career and this series overall. But I want to let everybody know out there that you got to check out Dylan's comics on YouTube, especially to check out our After Hours Horror Fest shows on his channel. He's got the monthly meetup coming up on his channel. His link is down in the description below, so be sure to sub up to Dylan. We're trying to get as many subs as we can, try to crack 1,000 as soon as we can. Dylan, my man. How are you doing? What do you think about these movies?
I'm doing good, bro. Yeah, dude, all you guys have great points. The man is just an icon, bro, in the horror industry for sure. I mean, my bad. I never really been like crazy about the zombies though. Like I respect it. It just can get like, I think everyone could say it kind of has times where you're like, man, there's just so much zombie stuff dropping where you're like, it can get kind of old a little bit or a little, I don't know, man. But,
I agree.
Like I got sick of The Walking Dead.
Walking Dead killed it.
But you know what I mean? But I hear it's good now, but we're talking about Romero. So I think it's crazy how he'd always be ahead of the curve and always have that underlying, tone for the movie. I thought it was crazy because I don't know if I had seen Diary of the Dead. And when I saw like the last like 5 seconds and that girl's just like, kind of like narrating and she's like, are we worth saving? Like talking about those hillbillies just like playing target practice. I was like, damn, man. I was like, he's always got some deep ass fucking meaning at the end of these movies, man. And that one just like really stuck out to me because I was like, this one's gonna probably be the weakest one, some handheld. But I was like, man, he probably was ahead of the curve too with the handheld camera stuff, the all the talk of MySpace and all the 78,000 hits, like people just trying, like that's incredible. In 2006 when he's talking about people trying to get all those hits, like, and that's like becoming their lives, like being what was it, like those social YouTubers that just all they do is just film everything they're doing. Yeah. It's something, man, especially because I was thinking that was going to be the weakest one. It was good, but it wasn't. It was close to the weakest one, but yeah, man.
We're getting there.
I still, yeah, you know what I mean. But I love the first 4. The first one isn't as high as it probably is for you guys, but that's because I grew up with the Tom Savini one, so I kind of like.
How old do you think we are, bro?
Man, I know, Robbie. I know you love the black and white stuff as I do, but for some reason, like, the original one has some slow parts for me. I still think it's phenomenal, but there's like I would take the girl from the remake out and put her in the original one. Like I don't like the original girl. She's obviously they're like she's the heroine, but I think the original Dwayne, he's phenomenal. He's better than Tony Todd.
He is.
And phenomenal what Romero did, adding him as the Black Star at that time. That's phenomenal. And making him like he was the best actor in that movie, just period. He was really good. He might be one of the best actors in the entire franchise, honestly. He's really good in that.
For sure. You're kind of jumping ahead of us. And getting into some Night of the Living Dead discussion.
Shut me up and go ahead, bro.
No, I mean, let's just go ahead then, right into it. Night of the Living Dead, of course, was the first one. It was his first film. He was a student. He lived in Pittsburgh. All of these films take place in Pittsburgh, pretty much. Almost all of these films, right? So he was making commercials, and they had made a little bit of money doing that. So him and some friends, they decided, let's make a movie. They wanted to make a horror film because it seemed like that was the thing to do. And he basically said he wrote a short story in which he ripped off Richard Matheson's I Am Legend. And it was called The Night of Anubis. And that is what became Night of the Living Dead, the very first flesh-eating zombie film. There you go. He says that he was just trying to do ghouls like Carnival of Souls. You can see the influence of Carnival of Souls in this film. But they are literally eating people. And what really strikes me about Night of the Living Dead is knowing that it's from 1968 and see, especially in context with the rest, is how gory it actually is for 1968. It was revolutionary. It pushed so many boundaries, not just having a lead actor as a black man who is honestly the best one. And George Romero says that there was no intent that this was going to have any kind of racial context to it, right? Obviously, the script and the performances are born out of, you know, whatever's going on at that time. The 60s, especially the late 60s, very turbulent time in American society. But he said that really he auditioned. He was already friends with them, but he auditioned. He's like, he was the best actor, so we just cast him. There wasn't like, they didn't realize at the time how groundbreaking just that was. But the in-your-faceness of this, I love this film. I think it's great. I think it is one of the most monumental horror films of all time. I think out of all of his zombie films, this one is the most important, right? This one established, first of all, like an entire subgenre of horror, like Jelani said. It had the idea that we can make movies, because in the 60s, going into the 70s, we were leaving the idea that the horror is out in space or in dark castles in Europe or something like that. And we're getting into the idea now that the horror is on our streets. And the stuff that happened in the 70s with the Wes Craven films, with the John Carpenter films, how it felt grounded and more realistic, even some of those Argento films, right? That really kind of starts with films like Night of the Living Dead, where it kind of felt a little bit more documentarian. The most mundane stuff is highlighted, like Dwayne Jones plays Ben. Ben is just, you know, a lot of this movie is him boarding up that house, you know, and then a lot of great dialogue and all these people coming back and forth. And it's shot beautifully well from people that were just very economic filmmakers, because they did like Pittsburgh beer commercials and stuff like that. But I love Night of the Living Dead. I think overall it's a fantastic film and probably his most important film of his career. But that's not saying that it went downhill from there, because I don't think it's near his best. What about you, Jelani? What do you think about the film overall?
Yeah, man, this is an awesome film. This one got me into it because this is the first one I ever saw. I saw it on VHS as a kid. It freaked me out. Didn't sleep for a while. Couldn't deal with it because of so much intended horror, and the fact that the scenes in the house can be some of the scariest scenes because it's the people interacting with each other, and Ben with the guy with the family. I can't remember his name. Just their back and forth, their mistrust of each other. Was it Harry? Yeah.
Carl Hardy
like
is Harry.
That's right.
Douchebag.
He's a douchebag. But the problem is they were both kind of right. You know, there's a place that we could go to, which is the cellar, to stay down there. And Ben's plan was to get to Willard so they could find somewhere to go. And it's just the two opposing sides, but their mistrust of each other. And I know that that's getting into kind of the themes, but it's the mistrust of each other and those two factions that could not work together.
Yeah,
caused this massive, horrible thing to happen where no one survives. And all of it could have been prevented, all of it could have been stopped, but it's the fear of the unknown, the fear of the dead walking the earth. And the fact that, we don't know what to do. It's just that sheer panic and that fear. And I'm always afraid of this movie. Listen, I never sleep right after seeing this one. They're the others I have other things to say about. And each one give me kind of a different reaction, but it's all the same, kind of the same thing at the same time. It's fear. And I am afraid in this film. It gives me genuine horror. I think it is beautifully shot. I think all of the characters are on point. I think that Barbara is the most useless character, but at the same time, she is the most fearful. She is, oh God, I can't stand Barbara in parts. Barbara makes me so mad. But at the same time, I mean, if I was a lady and my brother just died in front of me from some guy coming at me and I don't know what else to do, I'm probably going to act like Barbara. I'm gonna act like Barbara for a long time. So
yeah, I think you would be like Barbara.
I could see that,
even without that background.
You're just screaming. You're just screaming the whole time.
I'm just screaming the whole time because I wouldn't know what to do. Because on top of it, zombies are the scariest thing to me. I don't want to get bitten. I've already said it already. I cannot deal with that. I don't own. This is how afraid of zombies I am. I only own one zombie thing, and that's a zombie Deadpool head that just so happened to come with Lady Deadpool. I don't touch zombie figures because I'm afraid the zombie figures will bite my figures and turn into other zombies. I actually have that irrational fear.
That sounds like a really good sequel idea for Toy Story, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I don't mess with zombie figures. I
love what you said about the film, and I love what you said about its meaning, and it is about that. The scariest thing to me about this film isn't the zombies; it's the fact that these people can't get their act together and work together. And that's something that you'll find in most of these movies, even though at other times you see people work very well together, like in Dawn of the Dead. Jay Strick, what'd you think about this movie overall?
I really like this movie a lot. It's really, really good. And I think if you're a fan of horror, you have to respect how iconic it was. And one of the things I wanted to say in the opening bit that I didn't get to say is all these movies, especially this one, I see how other horror movies have pulled from this, and especially zombie ones, right? Have pulled from the Dead franchise, and especially Night of the Living Dead. So I love the movie, man. The beginning is really subtle, and then it kind of got slow there at parts for me, but then it just like starts rattling off. And I love Ben as a character, and I was really sad about the end. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, right.
I was like, bro, the black guy is gonna make it to the end, and he's like the hero of the whole movie. But I really loved Night of the Living Dead. I thought it was really great.
Yeah, it's a great moment. That is a big gut punch.
It really was.
At the end of the film. It's a big gut punch.
Bad.
Robbie, it's Ben. It's not Dwayne.
Dwayne Jones is the actor's name.
Jones is the actor.
Ben is his name in the movie.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's why. I was like,
his name in the movie is Ben, right?
Yeah, it's Ben.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. That's
Ben.
what I was wondering.
He's the one that smacks Barbara.
Yeah.
Aiden says
like,
the end.
introduce the character of Ben's killer like later in the series to have him die, so we could get some justice for Ben.
Well, we
Yeah,
have plenty
right.
of people. Yeah, justice for Ben, right?
Hashtag justice for Ben.
Aiden out there said the ending of Night is depressing. The story of Night is depressing.
Yeah,
So-
we need to think about it.
and he didn't. Romero hated how these films purported to be horror films, but they would like wrap everything back up at the end of it. And he said to him it felt fake and falsified. And so he wanted to do this movie, have that punch at the end, and also make that statement. He goes, it's no surprise that it's always the rednecks in my movies.
Yeah, it is. There are a lot of them.
What about you, Brooks? Speaking of rednecks, what do you think about Night of the Living Dead overall?
Oh, this movie's horrible, man. It's in black and white. Where's the color, man?
What's the black and white?
This movie's great.
They got it in color now, Brooks.
Yeah, I actually remember seeing the color version like a while back.
It's nowhere.
I don't remember much of it. Yeah,
Black
this
and
movie is
white's
great. It's
better.
very atmospheric. It's got great characters, like especially like, and you know, Barbara's a little. I think Ben and Barbara are kind of like Ben is like the ideal of what you would want to be in this kind of situation.
Yeah.
And Barbara is more like what you would actually be like in this kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of like, it's, you know, you see his frustrations, like what? It's like she's just an anchor to him, but you know, he still has his morality won't allow him to just abandon her at the same time.
Yeah.
Great movie, man.
Yeah, that's a good movie, and that's a good point too. And you know, you can really analyze it and think that Ben's wrong with his plan versus Harry's, right? Because he survives by following Harry's plan after everybody dies. Plus, don't forget he killed Harry, right? But he still has this. He's decisive. He's thinking. He's making a plan. He's not just like being super fearful. Like obviously he's scared, and I love that moment when he breaks when he's telling the story about the explosion at the gas station and all that kind of stuff, right?
Just seen that, man.
Well, I think you actually do see it in a version of it, I think, in the Dawn of the Dead remake by Snyder. There's a shot at the beginning where they're like panning over the city and you see the truck drive into the gas station and it blows up or something. I was like, that's a neat, cool nod. I think that's what they're nodding there. Speaking of nodding, Dylan, Who the five greatest rappers of all time? Dylan, and Dylan. Dylan, tell us what you think about Night of the Living Dead overall, buddy.
I think it's good. It's not something you want to watch when you're like half asleep though, because then you might text Robbie and say I'm gonna have some real messed up thoughts on this movie. Because I was gonna say, man, it was slow as hell, but I was like, man, I gotta rewatch it because I never remembered not liking it as much as I did when I did that. So I was just like so bored, sadly. But I do like it. I know I sounded like an asshole there, but I do like it. I was just too tired to kind of want to care. But I think Ben is great. It's funny how like he won't go in that basement, but he ends up getting stuck in that shit anyways. Because no matter how brave he is, his ideas don't go perfect. It doesn't go how he plans. You know, you think like, oh man, he's going to be saving the day. They're going to do this big plan and it's going to work out. Not at all, man. Like somebody said, man, it's depressing as hell. But I do kind of see like the ending a little like it's believable because they're rednecks and that time. But I really don't believe like, you know, that he would just like point a gun out there at rednecks knowing that they would probably just shoot him on sight. I feel like he would be like, at least like, hey, you know, like say something. That's kind of my only flaw back on it.
Shot him. They probably still would have shot him.
They still shot him.
They could have done it no matter what. I would have liked to see him say, because he was a fairly smart guy, you know. I mean,
oh yeah,
out of all the people, he was the bravest of them all. I would have just thought at least, even if he still would have got shot, I would have been like, hey, but I just felt like in character he would have kind of said something instead of just walking up to the window with the gun, you know.
I mean, you don't think you're just gonna get blasted away when you're walking up to a window, you know?
Right.
I guess he's more worried about a zombie popping out at him, and maybe. I mean, I get what you're saying, but
yeah,
I think it's a. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I don't care.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say
you go ahead.
You go ahead.
I'm surprised. They're dumb rednecks, but you would have thought like they see a zombie with a gun, like that's strange, but I don't know. They probably
it's not necessarily that they're rednecks, but the idea, and he explores this in almost all these films, of how some people like would get so desensitized to this. Like think about what happens to soldiers and police officers and people that are in times like that. Like you can become so desensitized to it, and it becomes like an everyday thing. And some people are just itching for any excuse just to blast things away. You know,
and when you have the chance, like anybody could be one, like they didn't know, like they weren't close enough to actually tell. They didn't have binoculars or anything. Yeah. They just like saw a guy moving. They're like, oh, zombie.
Yep.
Throw him on the floor.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
We covered a lot already about what we think this movie's about, so let's briefly go back over that again. Obviously, to me, it's about the unrest of the time that seeps into the work. It has a racial connotation now because of Dwayne Jones' casting, and especially with that ending. And when it hit 1968, Romero says that when they first premiered it, they rented out a New York theater. They had a packed house, and that night was the night that Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. So it did add that context to the film and to that ending. The movie's incredibly brave, but I think what it's mostly about is how when the world is ending, we won't be able to figure it out. There's also a little bit about the media in this film. Think about how this is something that's prevalent in a lot of these films, especially the first two. Dawn of the Dead starts right into it with the media.
Yeah.
How the media covers it, why they cover it, the way they're covering it, and things like that. So I think it's saying a lot. Romero is obviously angry about a lot of things in society, and these zombie films are his way to explore that. And I think in this one, it's about they were in the 60s, much like today, it was a very divisive time, and you had the left and the right going at each other, and you had this and that, and you had wars, and you had, racial injustice. You had, right. But you had all this kind of stuff going on, and the Cold War. Right. And so the idea that even with the threat of like nuclear annihilation, we ain't going to be able to get our shit together, And I think that's what this movie speaks on. What do you think it is? What does this movie speak to you, Jelani?
Yeah, and like I said before, for me, it's just the mistrust, how people will refuse to work with each other, and yeah, absolutely, Brooks. It's nothing like today. We all get along.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
it's
Um,
like so nice
yeah,
these days.
we are the nicest.
We all
Eh,
watched these Romero films and took the warnings to heart, right? So
yeah,
we've made a more
yeah.
utopian
The
future.
world is beautiful, and then no zombies. Although it would be nice for a good old zombie apocalypse to round this one out. But
But half of us wouldn't believe it, bro.
yeah, yes. You're not
Zombies
gonna
are
get
fake
bit.
news.
That
If
gets
I get bit
explored.
right now, that's
That
what
gets
happens.
explored in Dawn of the Dead, man. But yeah,
It
it's
does.
that mistrust element, man. It's
Yep.
really
And it's
pointy.
it's huge. It's really huge, and it's back. It's a majority of the films that have this, but this one starts it off. This one shows it the most,
Yeah.
I think. And I feel that if we were all strangers in a house, this is probably how people would act, and no one would survive.
Even if it
So
wasn't strangers, if it was the five of us in a house, we'd still have these same damn arguments, man. And it would
yeah,
end the
yeah.
same way. What about you, Jay Strick? What's this movie speaking to you?
I mean, yeah, y'all said it. I guess the biggest thing for me was even if it wasn't intended, I guess, like you said, Romero didn't mean for it to be, but the racial oppression is one of the big things for me. I see with no context watching it, I felt the character of Ben and being a black man and versus Harry, who is a white man. It just seemed like there was like a distrust already immediately as they met each other because of the color of his skin. So that's one of the biggest things I took away watching. So
yeah, and that's how it is when you watch film. It's all subjective, and what it speaks to you.
Yeah.
And even if it's unintentional, it could always be subconscious, and like
For sure.
Romero, there's an interview. It's easy. You can find it on YouTube. It's Guillermo del Toro talking with George Romero for an hour, and it's an entire hour
that sounds
long,
awesome.
uncut conversation.
I need to watch that.
And I felt so sorry for Romero because he just doesn't want to take responsibility for his own insights and greatness. He always like, oh well, that I cast him because he was the best actor, and oh no, we did it because we didn't have the budget, and so I had to do this instead, or no, they wouldn't let me do this, so we did that. Like, and Guillermo's like telling him, like, no, you are like visionary, and he's just like, I appreciate you think that, but I'm not. And I'm like, bro,
Just take the compliment.
yeah, right. Take the compliment. Speaking of taking compliments, Brooks takes compliments so well. He goes out to McDonald's, orders an ice cream cone, and says, "Damn, don't I look good?" Brooks, what do you think this movie's speaking to you?
Like for me, it's about the fragility of our society, like how easily it could fall apart, and actually more so like how fragile we become without it. Like when you lose that fucking sense of reality, like our world is a very structured place. Certain things are supposed to happen. If something like this happened, and like all that went away, like what would we even do? Like how would we react to that? And I think like I said earlier, most of us would be barbarous and just like not know what to do and just kind of shut down. And the best of us would end up being Ben trying to pull everything together and hopefully
Getting blown away by some random dude.
Take that shot right there. Yeah,
Got him.
On one bar. Got him.
Bag him. God, it's got such a, and it's so unlike the ending of most horror films, and that's why it stands out. Dylan, what is this movie saying to you?
You guys probably all hit it, man. I like what Brooks was saying for sure. The mistrust, everyone falling apart. I mean, dude, it's crazy how he could see that, man. But the fact is, man, is that no matter what time period we're in, that's probably what will happen. Is no one will trust each other. Everything will fall apart. Everything will crumble to its feet. I mean, look at we're seeing it right now. You know what I mean? It might not be fully there, but it's crazy shit's been going on. But yeah, man, it just proves, man, how phenomenal of a director he was, and man, it's crazy, man, to think, like dude is doing horror, but he would say and speak so much in just one film, like. Yeah. And that overlying thing, like some people might not notice it, but people like us, man, it's just phenomenal. I love it. I love what he's done, man. He's one of the greatest, hands down, and he's someone that people have looked up to for years, man.
He inspired entire generations. In fact, in that interview, Guillermo tells him that him and David Cronenberg were like the biggest factors in him because of the fact that they were renegades, they were mavericks. Like they would say no to offers. Like after he made this film, everybody kept coming at him, saying, "Let's make another one. Do another one. We'll find it." He didn't want to do that, And it wasn't until he had an idea and then he met Argento that happened. We'll get to that. But before we get to that, what would you give this film out of 5 you digs? And you out there in the chat, let us know. Out of 5 possible you digs, what do you give Night of the Living Dead, Shalani?
Now, I love this film. I mean, I do. I've watched it probably 10 or 12 times in my lifetime. I love this film, but I'm going to give it a 4. Because it's not my favorite Romero film. It is very good. It is awesome. I will continue to watch it. I will sing its praises until I am gone and turn into a zombie. It is amazing. But a 4 for me is solid because compared to what I see next, it's completely different. So I love the style of it. I love the dread it gives. And they're coming to get you, Barbara.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
Look, there's one now.
You're ignorant.
Stop it, Johnny. You're ignorant. Yeah, I love that. I love it. We can quote it, man, like little schoolgirls, man. Like when we watch it, we all get all giddy and we start quoting lines and throwing popcorn all over the place, and it's so funny, We love it. Yeah, 4 is really good, I mean, we're judging it based on we do favorites, not best here. So we 4 is a solid rating, I think, for this film, especially because we're also judging all of these films against each other, right?
Yes.
Speaking of judging people, Jay Strick, you judge a lot. I'm just saying, judge not, bro. What do you out of 5 possible you digs? What do you give Night of the Living Dead?
I give it a 4.5. I really like this movie. I actually rewatched it. Liked it better the second time. I came to Robbie after the first time I watched it, and I was like, I got some problems with it. And then I was like, what the crap? Who am I? Some movie expert? I was like, I watched it again.
Well, when you said that, what was my response?
I don't remember. What did you say?
I said, well, that's funny because, it's kind of a classic of the genre.
Oh, I know, right?
It's a classic of the genre.
And that's what it is. That's why I'm giving it a 4.5. It's just iconic. When you think of zombie horror, it's created because of this. So you have to tip your hat off and respect what Romero did with it.
All right. What about you, Brooks? Out of 5 possible you digs, what do you give Night?
I'd give this one a 5.
Nice.
I've never been much of a horror guy, but this movie is one of those ones this is one of the best. I think it's one of the best horror movies of all time.
Yeah.
And it was great. It set off this whole chain of movies of slightly varying degrees of quality, but they all good in their own ways. It all started with this simple little black and white movie.
Yeah, made for no money.
Right. No,
I think they took him a whole
year now, so anybody can just
I know it was because he never got the copyright. They never copyrighted the movie right. So that's why anybody can do anything with it. That's why early in the days of PCP, we filmed or we recorded a commentary for the movie, but then we couldn't get it. Apparently there were different versions of the movie. There wasn't a restored definitive version like there is now. Anyway, that's just rambling, but that's really solid. 5 that's a masterpiece. And this movie can definitely be classified as a masterpiece. Speaking of masterpiece, Dylan, my man, what do you give this film out of 5 possible you digs?
I give it a 4. It's for it being low budget too. I always look and I'm like, man, it's a long movie for a black and white film. Most of the time, you doing your mummy Mondays, man. Those movies are an hour, hour 10. They're quick. And I always look at it, I'm like, man, this that's why I think sometimes it has a few pacing problems, but I still think the movie works perfectly because it's setting up character development and stuff. But it's just like Jelani said, I know what comes after, and it's not my favorite, but you gotta respect it and what it started, and it still is, even black and white, it's atmospheric and it is a great film, but it's not my favorite, so I'll give it a 4. But I still respect the hell out of it, you know, for everything that it's done, especially with Ben.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to give it a 5 because it is pretty much a masterpiece. It created an entire subgenre of horror film. It made horror movies feel more grounded, more realistic, even though it was a very crazy idea and concept that's simple, but it's grounded in social commentary and relevance. And it helped launch the career of one of my favorite filmmakers. And so I'm giving it a 5. So, Jillian, you said 4?
I said a 4.
4.5 from Strickland, 5 from Brooks, 4 from Dylan, 5 from me. So pretty much across the board, highly rated from the PCP crew. We'll just say the average is 4.44993347. Yeah.
We really don't do math here.
Out there in the Army, Eric says he gives it 5, you digs. Aiden says 5 out of 5, a masterpiece. Eric adds, because it came from such an original idea and made with almost no budget.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
David Hash says, nailed it. From now on, the PCP crew will now be called Giggling Schoolgirls. The Excitable Giggling Schoolgirls. Aiden also says, 5 because without Night, there would be no zombie films. Fable, our man, says 5 digs, groundbreaking, brilliantly reads its message in the guise of a horror movie. Gives me Sterling vibes. It's like watching a really good long episode of The Twilight Zone.
He's right. He's right. You know what? Can I change mine to 5 again? I mean, you're right. I mean, you're right. I know what. See, the thing is, I thought
I got to do it on Cabin in the Woods, so
I thought because we were watching so. I mean, the other films. There are other films that are, I think, are superior to this. But at the same time, you're right. It is a masterpiece. It is groundbreaking. It is low budget, made with a low budget. It's so smartly written. It created a subgenre. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5.
Okay.
I gotta go back. I give it a 5.
So after Night of the Living,
now, man,
I have to, man. I can't. The only reason I did it was
I put the numbers back through the machine and all that. Damn.
God, it's like a Romero film.
I don't want to give this one a low one because this one's my jam. I mean, it's good.
We'll buying into the hype.
Yeah, you're right. I need a shirt.
All right.
I love the
influenced.
What was that?
I love the poster behind you, bro. Damn you. You got a poster for every classic movie.
Not every classic movie. I'm still trying to get a poster for
Fast and Furious.
For Critters.
Really?
I had a Ghoulies poster, but I lost it. It was the one of the dude, the little green guy coming out of the shitter, man. It really, I love that thing. After Night of the Living Dead, George Romero made some other films, but people kept coming at him wanting another zombie film, and it didn't happen. Then he met some people, or he already had some friends, and they opened up the first indoor shopping mall in Western Pennsylvania. In the 70s, shopping malls were just now hitting, right? And he went there, and he said that all the trucks at that moment were bringing all the stuff in. They were like filling it up. It's about to open. And he goes, this is fucking insane. He's like, this is insane. Like, everything you need would be here. Like, what have we become? You know, that kind of thing. And he starts thinking about it and projecting back out into the future. And he writes Dawn of the Dead. Or he starts coming up with the idea. He gets a random phone call one day from Dario Argento. And Dario Argento's like, hey, you want to do another zombie movie? And he's like, yeah. So then Dario flies him and his wife, Chris Romero, to fucking Rome and puts Romero up in Rome so he can write the script. And then they make the movie, and Romero gets to do the American release cut, and Argento gets to do the European release cut, which was released as Zombie. Yeah. And that's why Lucio Fulci's film, which we in America know as Zombie, is actually Zombie 2. Technically, whatever. It's so weird because Night of the Living Dead spawned off 2 sequel series in a way. You know, they're the Romero of the Dead stuff. John Russo eventually kind of took his part of the property and helped spin it into Return of the Living Dead. And then Dario Argento's Zombie spawned its own series of 3 sequels in Italy, right? So... really interesting. The legacy of Night of the Living Dead. They did 3. There's a zombie 2, 3, and 4.
And 4. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's
I
a 4.
didn't know. I thought there was just zombie 2.
Oh no, there were sequels to that. I'm
They
pretty
make-
sure there were 4 in total, including the
Italian
original Dawn.
people do a lot of sequels.
But like we
Spaghetti-
don't
Yeah,
here in
true.
America.
Yeah. that's
Anyway,
true.
Dawn of the Dead came out in 1978. It was directed by George A. Romero. It was also written by him. It was produced by Richard Rubinstein. He was also going to be the producer for Romero films for the next few years, including Creepshow, Night Riders, and Day of the Dead. In fact, this is the movie that got George Romero that 3-picture deal, which is pretty crazy. It's got music by Goblin, but the music is more prevalent in the Dario Argento cut of the film, the European release, which I actually think is kind of slightly superior to this film or whatever, but it's got a great cast. We got David Emge as Stephen, Flyboy, as we know him, Ken Forhey as Peter. You got Scott Reiniger as Roger, and Galen Ross as Fran. Fran starts the movie off as a Barbara, and then eventually like crafts her own agency and direction into the film too. I love this film. Dawn of the Dead is great. It was the first one that with makeup effects by Tom Savini. Tom Savini just killed
It's in
it.
the film. Yep.
Just killed it. And he's in the film. He plays Blade. Is it Blades is his name, I think?
Yeah,
Because he has the
Blades.
machete.
Yeah.
I love this film. It is so freaking fun. It is once again saying something about society. And it's not necessarily now about the unrest in like certain areas of society, but the unrest inside and how that leads to excessive consumerism, right? And he's spotlighting this stuff, like these moments in the movie where they're like, why are they here? Like, because this place is important to them. And the thing is that they are led to the mall for the same impulse, the same reason. We can go to this mall, we can hold up, and fantastic. But before you even get to the mall, this movie sets up some really powerful subtext and some really in-your-face effects. It starts off with blowing a dude's freaking head off, which looks cheesy by today's standards, but in 1978, this literally blew people's heads off, man. It was crazy, and it's such a raw start to this film, and it gets a little goofy at times, and Romero is definitely having more fun with this movie. I think that leads into the part of the reason for that would be Tom Savini's element of, hey, it's Halloween, let's come up with gags of how to kill people and things like that, and they incorporate it into the movie. But it's got a great script. I love what this movie is saying. I love the performances. It's got some of my favorite characters in all of these films, including Peter. Peter's like probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Such a great performance, such a great character, and great zombies. This was the first one we got to see in color. First one we got to see like intestines get literally pulled out of people. It was so in your face. It was the first time I saw this in high school. It scarred me for days. I could not get the images of these zombies eating intestines and stuff out forever. And when Flyboy becomes a zombie, that's insane. That's insane.
That gun dangling off his finger.
Yeah.
I love this film.
Nuts.
I do like the European cut better because it's more scary, but you don't get the zombie pie fight. So there's a piece of me that's like, but I do want to see the zombie pie fight. Anyway, I do like this film. I like it a lot. What about you, Jelani? What are your film thoughts overall?
This has got to be my favorite of the Romero series. And it's not because of the makeup and effects. It's because of the story. The story it's such a richly told story. And on top of that, who wouldn't want to be held up in a mall with all the stuff you ever want, including a gun store and a liquor store, which we don't have in any of our malls. So, I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, I think the cast is great. I think some of the makeup effects, when our main characters turn into zombies, those effects are fantastic. But just the cannon fodder zombies, they just have face paint put on.
It's like they just have ashy kind of complexions mostly.
And what's crazy is because of it was so low budget, and they didn't realize, but at the makeup was coming across as different colors during different conditions of shooting. And so sometimes, if you notice, they're kind of like grayish. Sometimes they're blue, and sometimes it's just really weird, But yeah, definitely.
It looks so weird, and like I mean, I love how bikers take over because they see the whirly bird. They see the whirly bird, and it's just, and of course the beginning where they're in the apartment complex, and the oh my god, just the visceral nature of everything in that first scene is so crazy. Like, oh my gosh, they're trying to root these people out of this apartment complex for some reason, but they have they have like zombies like held up in their basement, and these zombies are eating people, and it's so like people don't know what to do with them. They're like, we need to keep them alive or respect them or keep them in their areas. That lady who runs up to her, I guess her husband, not knowing that he's turned, and like he just bites her on the shoulder. It's just stuff like that, and then that crazy racist cop that's coming in just shooting everybody that he sees. You see all that crap, and it's just like it's such an allegory for the time that it came out and now. And there's just so many little bits and pieces in this film that I just adore. Do you understand this one? Now it's like I said, it's not, as far as the special effects are concerned, it's not my favorite, but overall story, overall what you're trying to tell me, overall everything, this has got to be hands down my favorite Romero film. This is probably the one I watch the most. Like, I've seen the European version too, and I've seen all the versions. Actually, you know, the darker ending, all the different things that happen, you know, and I love them all. There's just so much to take away from all of this. The music's this has got by far the best music. Dun, 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 dun. It's so good, and it sticks in my head. And like, of course, the music, of course, the way what they do, and of course, the ending of the happy ending one, where just
Yeah.
and they're just the zombies have taken over the mall again, and it is consumerism at its finest. I love this film. I absolutely adore this film. This is why I love zombie movies until Walking Dead killed it. So I get it, and this is it.
What about you, Jason? This was your first time watching Dawn of the Dead. What'd you think?
Yeah, I really loved Dawn of the Dead. I thought it was really, really good. I mean, the idea of it all taking place in a mall is awesome, and especially in the era, like the scene where they're already getting held up in there, and they kind of got all the zombies out, and they just start going through everything, and like they're just running around with shopping carts, all happy. I was like, bro, that's what we be doing. Exactly what we be doing.
Yeah.
And the is this the? There's nothing in Night that alludes to like memories or anything. So this is the one from what I recall is that they've kind of introduced that them saying why does he keep coming back here? It's because they remember the mall or something. So it's kind of the first one to introduce that, I think, right?
They're learning.
Yeah, especially with the idea that night is the initial outbreak. At dawn, it's still within probably like a couple weeks of the outbreak, right? And so they're still trying to figure out what to do. But you definitely see in these films the evolution of the zombie. Like they also, like we do, share a collective unconscious. And once one of them learns something, the other ones start picking up on it. And you really start seeing that in land. Day, but especially in land. Yes. Because like once the one zombie, Big Daddy, starts ignoring the fireworks, they all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so you liked it, Jay Strick.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, you got some gnarly scenes when Flyboy in the elevator, and then some heartbreaking scenes when his friend turns in the bed and he has to shoot him.
Roger.
I know, man. It's a really good movie. I mean, I get what you're saying. There's some little hokey parts with the pie. I forgot about that until you said it. That really did happen. A pie zombie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the guy taking his blood pressure.
Blood pressure. Why are you doing that
in the middle of a zombie outbreak?
Why are you doing that?
Hey man.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Sorry.
Yeah, the Argento cut doesn't have a lot of that goofiness in it, and it actually it's the same movie, but it's a darker film. Speaking of
same actors, everything.
Oh, it's the exact same movie. It's just a different cut, and it uses more of the Goblin music. Romero likes using stock music, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what he did. And like, if you like, one thing I hate about watching Dawn of the Dead, the Romero cut is when he barely uses the Goblin music, which is so atmospheric in moments and so like, and when I know I've seen the Argento cut so many times, and I'm like, oh, the scene is so much more creepy in the other cut. But they both have things that are great. I wish I could make. I just wish we would use more of. I just
make a Robbie cut.
Make a Robbie cut. All it would be the Romero cut with more Goblin. Like honestly. What about you, Brooks? What do you think about Dawn of the Dead?
Is it on me now?
Yeah. Hey, Brooks, what do you think about Dawn of the Dead?
I think the Dawn is my favorite one. Like on the rewatch, I was like, yeah, I think Dawn is probably my favorite one out of them. Like I like the idea how it kind of grapples with like mankind's obsession with possessions, and like they're like it gets them all, and like it's like they got to get this stuff, and, like the risk they're willing to take to just get the stuff, like not just the necessities, but also they're grabbing luxuries while they're out here too.
Yeah.
And in the end, like these biker gangs come through. He's like, all you had to do was just like wait it out and just let them run through. But he has to be like, no, we have to protect our stuff. And like how is that really important at this point? But I mean, I guess it kind of is, because you do have to risk more in order to have those things, so you would feel a little more possessive. But in the end, it's kind of like something that kind of drags you down in the end and gets you killed more than anything.
Oh, and it does speak on it. And you're like, when they clear out the zombies and they finally have all this luxury, like even Roger, who is literally dying, right, is just enjoying the finer things, playing arcade games, which, arcade games in the 70s, man, that's a rough time.
Man.
But
those games slow.
I love how, though, they all still feel empty,
Yeah.
It becomes, at first it's such a valuable possession, then it becomes something meaningless. You just leave the tennis balls laying out there. You don't care. Who cares? It's not about that anymore. It's, you make the makeup, you put yourself up, then you realize this was for nothing, and you just take it all down immediately. So I think that's something really, really powerful that it's saying about consumerism. Speaking of powerful statements about consumerism, Dylan, you're a righteous brother. What do you think about Dawn of the Dead?
I love it, man. It probably is my favorite. Like to watch over and over. I've probably seen it the most too. That and Day of the Dead. It's a great movie, man. I remember when the remake came out, but I still like the other one better. They're totally different movies than the remake, I feel like.
I actually like that remake.
The remake's not bad.
I do too.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Besides the name, though, besides the name and them being in a mall, though, I feel like they are two different movies in a way. But similarities and nods, obviously. But man, Ken Foree is good. The guy who plays Peter is good, which I think that dude's only been in 2 movies his entire life. Dawn of the Dead and Night Riders. So he never did anything else, which I thought was surprising. So I guess
he's probably just
Romero,
a local actor in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah. That's what I figured. But yeah, man, phenomenal movie. Tom Savini, not at his best, but getting there. He didn't have the blood recipe perfected at that point. I remember there was a documentary where he went out one summer and had to meet up with one of these guys and finally could get the real blood recipe. So that's why in Day of the Dead it's a little bit more gnarly and not as that light red. It's kind of like it looks kind of like
bright. It's like Technicolor. Bright as it's like
very orangish red,
and that's a very common thing that you saw in the Hammer film.
Yeah, Hammer movies that a lot of orangey blood too.
Yeah. That's one of the things I like about the film, though. Like, obviously, we'll talk about this probably in the next few, but Day of the Dead obviously is far superior, and the blood is very rich and gruesome looking. And Savini's other work, even like Friday the 13th, but there's something to me because of the cartoonish nature of the movie that makes it stand out for me. And the Italian cut, it works because that's all over Italian movies, is that bright ass red. I'm so used to that from Argento.
Yeah.
So but
it's like paint.
Yeah, but it's so like paint, and the zombies are very inconsistent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you wanted to add, Dylan?
I think I said I love Ken and Peter. Even though I know his name's not Peter, or it's not Ken, that's his name in real life. I always do that. I always just say the real name of the actor. The effects are good. The movie's just incredible. I mean,
It's one of your
just,
favorites, you said.
It is, man. There's times where like you don't even need that much, like, I don't know, horror in it. That it's just a good movie. That's why I think it's so good on the rewatch. Is that, and even at times where it's like some people might say, oh, it's, it is like it's 2 hours long too. I think.
Yeah.
So some people I see saying
2 hours 16 minutes. Yeah.
I'm
The
engaged
Argento cut's shorter. Just saying.
Like, is it? I'm engaged.
Argento thought the movie was too long. For real, he did.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wow.
The movie is too long, but for those of us who love it, it's not. But I remember when I first watched it, I was just transfixed. And even it's just transfixed by it. Here's a question for you, Dylan. What do you think the movie's about? What do you think it's actually trying to say?
I'm sure I'd probably be wrong, but I would just think that about like items and personal, things that people think they need in life, but they really don't, like fur coats, like when they're dressing up in their fur coats, getting on their cowboy belts, like really they don't need any of that stuff. They just need, they just need some guns to protect them. They don't need to go the full mile and, have all this stuff. And even, man, the one thing I hate is when Flyboy is like, we gotta protect, this is our place, and he just starts shooting. It's like one of him and hundreds of these motorcycles, and he just shoots at him, and he just starts ignoring Ken Foray when he's like, what the hell are you doing, Flyboy? And just once again, like doing some dumbass shit, and it's like, bro, what the hell? Because they've taken them all, and it's 3 of them, and he thinks, no, this is our mall. We have to stand up and fight. It's like, you jackass. Like, bro, like, none of this shit means anything,
leave it alone,
bro.
man.
Like, it's
Let
like, do you want
what they want,
bro?
and leave.
Exactly. It's like none of this shit means anything, especially now. It's even less. And you notice those the gangs, they're not even grabbing anything that's worth it. They're grabbing like cases of rings and watches. Yeah, they got some guns and bullets. Like, that would be the most useful thing, is guns and food at that point. Other than that,
Peter and Roger like actually take money out of a cash register and like early on, and they like look at the security camera and just wave and shit.
I thought they took all the money. That's why another thing too. I was surprised that they robbed the rest of the money. I'm like, well, I don't know what they're gonna do with the money, because I thought, first of all, I thought they took it all because they were like, just in case. That just shows like how greedy they're getting. Or like, just in case, even though world's done and money doesn't mean a goddamn thing, they have everything they could want in that mall, and still that's not enough. They need all that money, which I don't know if they did take. I don't know, because
at that point they wouldn't have really known that the world was over necessarily. Like at that point, they still could hold out hope that maybe it would just pass.
Yeah.
Society would go back to normal.
Yeah.
Because if something like that happened to us, like even in the situation we're all in right now, we're all taking very much for granted the idea like we'll be fine overall. Like we'll get through this, we'll be fine. And I think that would even happen in this. Like the idea like, no, we'll be saved. And one thing that I think Romero's always trying to say in his films, Romero does not like institutions, whether it's religious institutions, whether it's government institutions, whether it's scientific institutions, media. Like he doesn't like this stuff. He doesn't like authority. He doesn't like people that are. He definitely sees the populace getting screwed and getting one pulled over on it, And I think that's also prevalent. He's saying that about the media in the very beginning, when Fran finds out that they're listing these shelters that have been compromised, and they're like, "You keep that list up because as soon as we pull it down, people will stop watching." And this guy cares more about keeping people on his station than their actual safety. That's coming from the media. That's a statement that George Romero is making, and then he makes the statement about the police when they're going through that.
I know you noticed he's one of those news guys.
Yeah.
This guy at the beginning.
That's him and Chris. That's him and his wife right there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a news guy in Night of the Living Dead as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's making a big statement about the media. He's making a statement about authority, and also about possession and consumerism and all that stuff rolled up into one. What do you think, Jay Strick?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things you take away from it, but one of the big ones I saw was just violence in our culture, right? I mean, the That opening scene where they're in the apartment complex and they're just offing everybody, right? And even at the end when the bikers come, it's just like Viking mentality, like rape and pillage. We're gonna take everything, and it doesn't matter. We're taking it. It's ours. So that was one of the bigger things I saw.
Absolutely.
I guess.
What about you, Jelani?
Yeah, I see about the same thing, but it was basically consumerism as well. Consumerism drives our lives, and it takes over, and it makes us feel empty inside. Even after we have all these things, and that's all we have left to show for it is our things, and you can't take it with you, and you definitely can't take it with you during zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. This one doesn't have the mistrust of the first movie. It is telling its own thing in the form of I just believe it's just hyper consumerism and what we would do to protect just stuff and how stuff has taken over our lives.
Yeah,
they could have easily just gotten what they needed from this mall and left, but they decided to stay because it was a home, and they decided all the things were here. So, and they became complacent and sad about it, like we discussed before. So it's just all of those things together, and how that stuff took over their lives. And like I said, I love this film. I love what it's trying to tell me. I mean, there are so many other themes in this film that you can break down that we've already discussed, but I think that's the biggest thing I pull away from it.
Absolutely, it's there, and I love that idea. Some of my favorite sequences in this film are when they have cleared out the zombies and they are like living their life, and then what happens? Roger dies, and Peter's dealing with the fact that he's lost his best friend, the only friend he really had since the end of the world, because he never quite. You can see that Steve and Fran have kind of they're starting to become a family, but that happens more after Roger is killed, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have Fran and Flyboy, and I love that sequence when he proposes to her, right? Mm-hmm. And she's like, "No, it just wouldn't be real." And then they have this you can tell that night was a special night, and they had made love or whatever. Then there's this shot that pulls out slowly where you could just tell that they're just dead inside. This is not fulfilling. This is not a happy life. Then you also got Fran, who's also pregnant, and they're dealing with that. And I love how random was it?
And drinking.
It's the 70s. My mom smoked and drank when she was pregnant with me, man. No surprise, right? Here's something though, is like, how random was it when Peter, Ken's character, is like, "Do you want to abort it? I know how to do it."
Why did you learn how to do that?
Get me a coat hanger.
But it's even in the 70s. Roe v. Wade had just passed, and he's making statements on this. And Fran starts off as a barber, but I really like her journey into becoming a very capable. Like, she's the one that's like, "I want to learn how to fly the plane." And Steven is like so pissed about that. Remember when he like acts like a fool over it and like he's like pouty and all that kind of shit? Brooks,
dick.
Speaking of such a dick, Brooks, what is this movie speaking to you?
Well, I think, like I said, this movie is kind of like a criticism of consumerism, I think, more than anything. Like our need to like fill our lives with things, to have possessions, and like even in a situation in which all of that is meaningless, we'll still cling to that need to like fill up our lives with stuff.
Yeah.
But what's really important is working together, the people around you, because like those are the people, like Roger and Peter, they're the ones that are keeping them alive. But at the same time, they're also the ones like providing them with stuff. So it's like, which is more important? Like, is it the stuff, or is it, these obviously it'd be the two guys that, are keeping you alive.
Exactly, right. And I
stuff
love
is
that.
Like an anchor in this kind of situation, like, because
it's
like you need to be able to move. Like if zombies like overwhelm a spot, like it's important to be able to just drop everything and move as quick as you can.
Exactly. Right. And I love that this movie, and we're all right on it, it's about consumerism, and you shouldn't like be attached to all this stuff. And none of us know anything about that.
No.
But I'll tell you this, if we were stuck in the mall, even during a zombie apocalypse, one of the first places we'd go would be the fucking toy store. And it.
KB, if it was around, I'd be all in it. I'd be mad as hell if they'd have anything I wanted.
Please, we're about to get to the rating of this film, Dawn of the Dead, the original 1978 version. Out of 5 possible you digs, what do you out there in the PCP Army give it? Let us know in the comments down below. And Jelani, what do you give it out of 5?
It's my favorite. So 5. I'll watch it again. I'll watch the European cut again. I love this film. I'm mad I don't own it on anything. I will. I'm making that a point as soon as possible. Yeah,
Good
I
luck.
know it's hard as crap to get. Yeah, it's out of print and everything, and it's so hard to watch. It was so hard for me to watch once I was like looking for it because I was like, oh, finished watching Night. So I had to watch Dawn. I think I watched Dawn like last night after I found it. I had to find it. I watched all of these movies out of order. So, but that and Land were the hardest to find. But this film, oh my God. Oh, when I saw it, I about cried. It was amazing. So I will definitely watch it again. I may watch it again tonight. I don't know. It's 2 hours long, so I'm not quite sure.
Watch the Argento cut. It's a little bit shorter. Right?
Yeah. So yeah, I give it a 5. Absolutely.
Nice. Perfect score from Jelani. What about you, Jay Strick?
Yeah, I'm going 5 digs too. I can see me rewatching this at any point and loving it. It's a lot of fun, but it's also dark. And I love that aspect of it. And I love the themes in this one a lot. And the whole mall one really just speaks to me, right? We all grew up in the mall, so this one is weird. It seemed like a freaking meadery in there. I was like,
yeah,
bro, I'm in. Like they really were set. Like,
yeah, they were set for life. Yeah, so, man. I still would have stashed that stuff upstairs and still would have made that wall. I would have done all that junk, man. Keep all my stuff. And those bikers would have showed up. All them people would have come in. I would stay quiet. Be like, shut up. They can't reach me. They don't even know where I am.
I'd be like, no, we gotta protect our stuff, dude.
I'm fine.
I would have stayed up there with the spam and waited it out.
Yep.
Don't hold your nose up to it. It comes with its own key.
That's right.
What about you, Brooks? Out of 5 possible you digs, what do you give this film, Dawn of the Dead?
Man, this movie's so good, I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm just kidding. I'll give it a 5.
It scared me, so I'm gonna give it a 2.
I don't know why it scared you, bro. Should have scared you.
Yeah, this movie is great. And like I said, this is my favorite one out of the Dead series. So.
Nice.
Best for me to give it anything less than a 5.
Less than the best and all for the rest. What about you, Dylan? What do you rate it?
I'd give it a 5. It's close with Day, but I have a few problems with Day where Dawn will win it out. I love it, man. It's great to rewatch, and I'm probably fucking up. I was skipping.
No, you're good. I can hear you. You're good.
Am I buffering?
We can hear you.
Oh, we can hear you.
Okay, man. You guys are buffering, so I'm like, great, man. I'm probably like, okay. Yeah, I love it though, man. I give it a 5. It sometimes I like Day a little bit better at times, but there's one thing that annoys the shit out of me, and we'll talk about it when we get to that movie, which is next anyways. But 5, it's a great movie, great rewatchability, which is a big thing as you know what I'm saying, as you go on. And yeah, man, first movie with Tom Savini and Romero working together. And if you watch any behind the scenes, man, everyone just had a blast making this movie, and they love working with Romero. They say it's one of the greatest experiences you can ever have as an actor or being in the filmmaking business. And it really shows, man, that Romero was one of the greats, man.
Absolutely. It sucks that we lost him a few years ago. Yeah. But
it really does.
We'll always have the Monroeville Mall, you know, and I freaking love it. They say if you go to the mall nowadays, it's completely unrecognizable, basically. It's because it's obviously so different now. I hate to break the streaks because you guys have all given it 5s, but I'm going to give the American Romero cut 4.5, but I will give the Argento cut 5.5.
God, what a snob.
I will give the Romero. I will give the
Argento. I gotta see that.
The Argento cut is
the European version.
It's a lot better.
Well, in America, it's a 5.
America, 5.
So I love this film, but I do like I think that Romero wasted Goblin, and that takes it down to 4.5. And I do think it's a bit too long. But I mean, I love it. I mean, it's one of my favorite films, and I'm not trying to disgrace it. Like I said, the Argento cut gets 5. So what? I think Argento was the better editor. I'm sorry. Big deal.
You're dead to me.
Let's look out in the chat.
Living dead.
Eric says 5, a fun movie, but dark also. Aiden says 5, it's a classic, and in my top 10 films of all time, but Blink. What's that, Dylan?
Nice. Which one has the Argento cut? Like, because I noticed you have both DVDs. Is it the box set one?
The DVD I have is the DVD I have is the Ultimate Edition. That's the one that has the Argento. Yeah. It used to also just be sold on its own as Zombie.
I thought you had both.
What, Dylan?
I thought you had both DVDs, bro.
Hold on. Fable says 4.5, you digs. Great premise, raise the bar on gore. Dylan, here's the thing. I have Dawn of the Dead, the Anchor Bay Blu-ray, and then I have the DVD that's the Ultimate Edition, and it has the international cut, where it has the Romero cut, the Argento cut, and the extended edition.
That
which
box
is
is
even longer, and it's beautiful. Yeah,
it's gorgeous.
That's the one that you see with the black cover with the red on it or whatever.
Not the Blu-ray.
Correct. I don't think they've done a Blu-ray of the Argento cut. I don't think so, but I know that they're actually doing one for the European audience. They're doing that box set basically, but it's going to be like a region 2 or something. So that sucks.
Yeah.
But anyway,
bummer.
So after Dawn came Day.
Yeah, whatever.
Day came out in 1985. Obviously, George Romero. Laurie Cardile doing a great job as Sarah, one of my favorite leading ladies in these films. Richard Liberty as Dr. Logan, or as we call him, Dr. Frankenstein. Joe Pilato as Captain Rhodes. Oh, what an amazing! What an amazing performance. He's also in Dawn of the Dead. He's the security guard at the and also the guy that played Martin is the guy that they're going after in the beginning of the Dawn of the Dead, the Puerto Rican guy that they shoot and kill. So anyway, there's a lot of different cast movers or whatever. Laurie Cardile, for instance, her father was a TV show host, like Sven Gooley, those late night like horror movie hosts, right? He was one called Chilly Billy. And he's in Night of the Living Dead. Yeah. He's the one giving the interviews with the people that are shooting all the dudes.
He was like the Pittsburgh, like I forget who Sven Gooley is. Like I swear he like does shit in Ohio, but Chilly Billy was the Pittsburgh one.
Yeah, he's the Pittsburgh guy because a lot of those big markets had local guys. Sven Gooley was local to Chicago, but it got syndicated out to a lot of other people. So Day of the Dead, overall, Day of the Dead is my favorite of these films. I fucking love Day of the Dead. The best zombie makeup, 100%.
Yep.
To me, the most important message, which is don't trust the government. Right? Or just what happens to isolation. Now the story's progressed. We go from the initial outbreak, we go from just a few weeks after to now, who knows how long. Are these the only surviving people because they live in this bunker? When they go to that town, it's got the most chilling opening where all the zombies coming out. Then you barely see any zombies. And then it's about the human interaction, and it is overacted by some, expertly acted by others. But it works so freaking well. Even Pilato as Rhodes, it's so much over the top, but it works so much, and it reaches a crescendo. I love this film. The best zombie effects, the best, some of the best character work, and by far, in my opinion, the best music of the series history. John Harrison's score to this one is one of my absolute favorite things. When this movie initially came out, a lot of people didn't like it, thought it was too different, thought the soundtrack was too 80s. They just weren't really vibing with it. Didn't have as much fun as Dawn of the Dead, right? This is a very bleak film. It doesn't have very many positive things to say about humanity, aside from the guy that just wants to get drunk on an island. And he's actually got the best idea out of all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we just lost Joe Pilato last year too.
Oh man.
Oh, did we? Damn, that sucks. He's the helicopter pilot, by the way, is also nicknamed Flyboy in the movie, so that's a nice throwback. I love this film. It's my favorite. I'm gushing over it. What about you, Jelani? What do you think about this film? What do you think of Jelani? What do you think about this film overall?
Now I love this film too. It could be right on par with Dawn, but the reason I give Dawn more because I like the story in it. I something about it. I love Day about the same because of the kills. The way the kills are made in this film, they're brilliant. Like Tom Savini ups his game in this one. The people getting torn apart, the even more visceral nature in this one because you have a man on the table. It's just a brain, and Frankenstein's just doing electrodes to him, and his arms move. It's just so many little. The deaths in this are fantastic. People that deserve to die horribly. I mean, it's so. The story itself says a lot. I love the characters in this film. I love the music in this film. Yes, you're right. Everything you said. It's not my favorite though. It's my favorite as far as practical effects go. It's my favorite as far as practical effects go because it's just done so well. Like Tom Savini just lost his mind. He was just like, "I'll do whatever I want." Isn't Greg Nicotero involved in this by this point?
Yes, he was one of Tom's assistants.
Yeah. So he picked up a lot.
He's the blind in the army too.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a great film. It does make you distrust the government. It's so cool though. I love how they're growing weed. Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. It's the end of the world. Yeah,
right. Why not?
Why not?
I would too.
So, I totally get it. But it's a fantastic film. Like it tops off the original trilogy of what he had. It tops it off brilliantly, and I thought this was all we were gonna really get and this is what we got for years.
20 years.
So for 20 years, and so I accepted this as a trilogy. I knew that. I mean, and it looks like it ends well. Like it has it's bleak, but it feels like it has a happier ending than Dawn did. Yeah. So it's a fantastic film. I mean, I can't knock it. There's nothing really wrong with this film. I just think Dawn is a little better to me. That's all.
I won't have to lay off the fucking booze after a while because if we don't reach somebody on the goddamn radio, there won't be any fucking booze left. What about you, Jay Strick?
Left in fucking Burma.
What do you think, Jay Strick? Yeah, I told me and Brooks were talking about it. I was like, Captain Rhodes in this film, which that's not Rhodes, what I just did there, but Rhodes in this film he's always at an 11, like that asshole from Rambo 4. Yeah. Speaking of Rambo 4, Jay Strick, what do you think of Day of the Dead?
Yeah, this is my favorite one as well. It's a damn near perfect movie for me. I know I like the music in Night. I didn't really notice the music in Dawn. This one, I felt this music, and I've been jamming to it all week. I love the characters in this one. You got Dr. Frankenstein, and you get Bub. Rose is an asshole. And people start getting got in this one, and that's what I love in this one. People get got, and it's in the most gruesome ways. So
you die in these movies.
Yeah, you die in these ones. I really, really love this movie. It's really, really good.
Yeah, people get got in the most crazy ways. One of my favorites is what I'll just go ahead and say it then. When the dude gets his head ripped off, and as his neck is stretching out, his voice goes like, and it's obviously digitized, but it's so freaking creepy to me, man. What about you, Brooks? Your voice creeps me out. What do you think of Day of the Dead?
Really? Yeah, this was good, especially they seem to have picked up on the effects more. They can have more of the zombies looking more fucked up, like a little different, than just the kind of pasty, pale, ashen face zombies. Like they can isn't this one that opens up with the zombie with his lower jaw missing?
Yes.
Yeah.
His face is gone.
Dude, and the tongue swirl I don't even know, dude. When I see that, I'm like, is that fucking? That's how good it is. Where I think it's animatronics, but
it is.
It's animatronics.
Really is, dude.
So many good practical effects.
They got with the eyes.
Yeah, Tom Savini, after the success of Dawn of the Dead, he had a string of just work like Maniac, Friday the 13th. He just perfected his craft. This was the first time that he was really working with a group of people. He had a lot of assistants, Gregory Nicotero being one of them, who did the makeup effects in The Walking Dead and in Land of the Dead, and has become an icon in the horror industry of himself. And I think this is Tom Savini's best work. And I don't think it's ironic that shortly after this, he kind of focused more on acting and less on special effects, because I think this is his best work. These zombies look like, to me, I mean, I don't know what a fucking corpse actually looks like. I'm sure it's not, but they look like zombies are supposed to look like. It is absolutely brilliant and beautiful. I'm glad you like this film, Brooks. What do you think about the music?
I think the music is more, like, I noticed the music more in this movie than any other ones. Like, a lot of that I think that has to do with that gorilla song, like, you know, in the beginning.
Yes.
Hello.
M1A1.
I keep expecting going to M1A1.
Yeah. And, you know, on the Gorillaz' first album, they used music from the American cut of Dawn of the Dead.
Not the European.
Not the European.
I don't want to listen to it.
Not the European version.
Speaking of the European version is better. I know a European guy named Dylan who's a lot cooler than this Dylan, but I like this Dylan a lot too. What do you think about Day of the Dead, bro?
Wow, bro. Like that?
But we call him Delane.
I love this movie too, man. I honestly, it's hard, man. Now I'm going and I'm like, is Dave? That's the thing, man. These two, Dawn and Day, man, they go back and forth for me. Like, one day it's Day, because the effects are so good, man. They're just like, I'll tell you, man. Miguel, I can't fucking stand him.
I
can't
Miguel.
stand him. I want to
punch
him in the face. But dude,
he's worse than Barbara.
He's the Barbara in this movie.
Yeah.
Is Miguel the guy that like
incredible
kills himself at the end, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's stupid. Fuck Miguel.
Yeah,
he's just crazy, bro.
All the damn zombies.
He's crazy.
Everybody's lost they're off their fucking rocker in this film, dude. They've been in this bunker for who knows how long.
I mean, is he crazy? I mean, he was the only guy smashing Sarah. I mean, I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Maybe give the rest of us a chance.
Guys are so mad.
Yeah, they're
so mad on that too.
Don't worry, I'm sure there's
That's another thing too. There's no, like, I could never see them being together. There's just no connection, no spark.
There's no
anything
chemistry
there.
at all.
It's just like, why are you messing with this crazy dude? But
you're literally saying it at the very end, though. Right?
3.5. Yeah, they got the $3.5 million budget, and honestly, man, I wouldn't even. Besides the effects, because I know a lot of money goes into practical. Which I can see why maybe they were able to be better, and Tom Savini was at his best. But dude, it does show how great Dawn of the Dead is when it's made for $500,000, and Day is done with $3.5 million. That's crazy to me, because, you know, Day is kind of like a bunker. You know, it's more secluded. I mean, you're in the mall, so that is secluded too. But dude, there's some iconic stuff in this, man. Like you said, Rhodes. I mean, choke on them. Every time I literally kept hitting rewind and just okay. And Bub, we get the starting of, you know, zombies becoming smart. Dr. Frankenstein. I love this movie, man. It's crazy that it didn't have like a cult following out the go, you know. That this one actually didn't do as well in the theater, because, like you said, it had different tones and it is a bit slower, but the payoff, man, is absolutely worth it and mind blowing. I love it, man, and I could talk all day, man. So go ahead, Robbie, shut me up.
I think it's near perfection, you know, and it's so great. It's like we already talked about. Tom Savini makeup effects are great. The music is great. Like, everything about this movie is great, and I freaking love it. And I love what it's trying to say. I love that it's trying to say something about distrust in so many institutions, the government and science. Who are you supposed to trust? Are you supposed to trust the military, which represents the government? Or are you supposed to trust these crazy ass scientists who are like fucking doing Frankenstein experiments?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And you're stuck in a bunker. Out of all of these films, this feels the most claustrophobic, and it's because you're in a bunker with these guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be miserable. that's why I really relate to the radio guy and to Flyboy, because they're just, I love that they got their own like trailer out there.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And even though, yeah, like you see zombies a lot in the beginning and then at the end and then the middle, but there's still just enough because they're like corralling zombies for the experiments. You got Frankenstein doing this crazy stuff, and Bub is just amazing. What a brilliant performance by I think it's Richard Sherman. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Sherman Howard. My bad, Sherman Howard. Yeah, Richard
Sherman's a cornerback for the Seahawks.
Yeah. Anyway, no, he's not. That's Russell Wilson.
49ers. That's who he plays for.
But I love this film, and I think it's saying a lot about distrust in institution, and once again going back tonight, the idea that even in the end of the world, you won't be able to get your shit together. But at the same time, like they're disillusioned. Even the soldiers, why should they be down there? You know, and that's what the whole thing is. Rose is like, we're about to just get the fuck out of here. You know, and that's what Flyboy wants to do. It's just, I love it. It's so much about distrust. It's so definitive. I love each one of these 60s, 70s, and 80s says something so specific about its decade. And anybody else would have made this the Mall movie, being in 1985. But he makes this movie about the crumbling of trust in American institutions. And this very bleak. And a lot of these movies are about the idea that, especially in Night, you know, that we were given a gift and we kind of failed it, you know? And I think I freaking love this. Briefly, what do you think this movie's about, Jelani?
I believe it's about things falling apart. Like you said, the crumbling of government, the crumbling of institutions, the fact that we're waiting for something to save us and nothing is going to come. It's just that overwhelming sense of dread. And that's what this film brings. And it's the scariest of the group so far because of it. I mean, like I said, I love this film because it's trying to tell me all of these things, that there's nothing out there, that this is the end, and we better fly to a deserted island and soak up the sun, because that's all we got left.
We'll soak up some rays.
Soak up rays.
And all the shopping malls are closed.
Yep.
I think it's a curse from the creator. I love it.
It's just nuts, man. This film is just crazy, and it tells me so much. And it's I don't know. I just think it wants me to know that, of course, like I said before, that things fall apart, and they just do.
Jay Strick, what about you?
Yeah, I think with this Dead franchise, there's a lot of similar things that cross over with each other, right? The distrust with media, distrust with government. Another one you see in this, man, is like it's the military, very much locker room talk, racial slurs, and you're just kind of like, damn, man. Like even with us growing in the South, like I honestly grew up around a lot of that, which is sad to say, but like they capture that, and like it's real, you know.
Oh, absolutely. That's a good point too.
What are you talking about? That racism stuff, that ain't real.
What about you, Brooks? What do you think this movie's about then?
Well, I think, like, you know, if the first one is about the how fragile our system is, like this one's kind of like the dangers of what's going to replace it. Like, because, you know, like there's nobody in this movie that'd be worth following. And the closest one is just the guy who just wants to fuck off and, you know, find a beach and take his chances. Like Rhodes would be a horrible leader. Frankenstein, he'd be a horrible leader. Like there's nobody in this group except for possibly like the female lead,
Sarah.
Yeah, who could possibly, like, you know, maintain any kind of like civility amongst all these people. And like, you know, it's frightening to think, you know, like of somebody like a Rhodes like rising up and becoming like the new king of the mountain, you know, after all the, like, you know, building his kingdom on all these corpses. And, you know, he would be, you know, like, he's just, you can tell, like, it's just like this whole situation has just broken him down. And like, he didn't seem like he would have been a good dude to start with.
Yeah.
But I think like the whole burden of the responsibility on him was just like worn on him so much, and it's just made him more and more, like, it's just brought out the worst in him. And, you know, like having someone like that like have that kind of authority is just kind of a scary thought, you know.
I'm running this monkey farm now, and I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my
I love how
time.
Frankenstein just like doesn't give a shit. He's like, well, you need me.
He really does.
Is there any
You have to
food?
kill me. You need me.
Is there any food? Until they find out that he's been killing his people. And by the way, how awesome is it? I have never been more satisfied with the character's death than Rhodes in Day of the Dead.
Oh God! No. It's so brutal because it's so like it's built up over the whole movie, right? Like you hate him, so they take his death so slow.
Yeah.
And he's alive the whole time.
Yeah.
I love the bub salute too.
Love it. Speaking of the bub salute, Dylan, what do you think this movie's about?
Probably like how some people can't be in a enclosed space with a group of people or testosterone assholes for too long before they go absolutely nuts. I mean, Rhodes is just the definition of a jackass. But it's yeah, I mean, there's you would know better than me. Sometimes I don't always notice a lot of like I don't get as deep into a lot of things. Like I'll notice stuff and then I'll like go watch behind the scenes and they'll kind of get more into it and I'll be like, oh, I got you now. Like sometimes I don't always see all the way through to it. I notice little things, but that's one thing I try to like as becoming like how much I love film. I try to look into that more and more, especially with Romero stuff, because he always has that underlying thing. But
well, Dylan, don't sell yourself too short, man. Don't sell yourself too short because you're right on. It is about how people can't be in these close quarters together. Like people can't get along. It's all in there, bro. Like don't sell yourself short. Don't be a Romero. Embrace it. You're a commentator on horror movies. You watch enough of these things. You know what they're about. This is saying a lot of stuff about a lot of different things, and it's all about what you take. So out of 5 possible you digs, you out there in the chat, what do you give Day of the Dead? And Delaney, I'm going to ask you, bro.
All right. Well, in this trilogy so far, it's going to be a perfect score of 5 for me.
5.
It's a 5. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, the makeup in this movie alone and the practical effects alone, just they're leaps and bounds over the first two. It's you can tell that, like we said before, that Savini had a team around him that knew exactly what he wanted to portray as ghouls, and these zombies look perfect. These zombie kills look perfect. The acting is great. The film itself is just gorgeous. The shots are done well. The music is fantastic. I will watch this again. I'm watching it. I was watching it before we did it again. I was watching it again because I was just like, oh man, I'm blown away by this. And I've seen the others, which we're getting to, but this one just stands out. It's just so well done. So I give it a 5 all the way across the board.
Highly respectable. What about you, Jay Strick?
I'm gonna give it a 5, y'all. 5 just for the music, right?
I mean, pretty much. And the fact that Romero actually fucking used it and didn't just use stock fucking music.
No, it's a 5.
But it's not the European version of this movie.
If there was a European version, it'd probably be about 10 minutes shorter, but I don't know if it'd be better.
I love this movie. I love the whole drama of everything that's going on between the military versus the civilians-esque people, and I love the character of Bub. It kind of does set up Land of the Dead, the zombies in that, and man, it's just a cool take on the use of zombies. And like I said, man, fucking people get got in this one, especially Rhodes.
They do get got. Not like this. Not like this.
Not like this.
What about you, Brooks? That guy reminds me of Brooks for some reason. Out of 5 you digs, what do you give it?
I'd give this one a 4.5. Like it's the best looking one, and it's good and it's fun. But I think it's a little cheesy too at times. I think And I don't think it's as good as Dawn for me personally. But I mean, still, it's like, even if I would say it's like out of the original trilogy, probably the weakest, but not by a whole lot, I don't think. I mean, like, just barely.
I got you. Well, fuck you too. But anyway,
yeah,
Dylan,
that's what I was gonna say. But you took it out of my mouth.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding. Not like this. Not like this,
dude. Even when the guy like just kills himself and they're all just sitting there eating him for like 2 minutes, it felt like.
Yeah, I love how each of these movies get that slow pan over of just zombies.
Oh, I know.
I love it.
There's the obligatory guy getting pulled out.
Yeah.
Too many people talking at the same time. But Dylan, what do you give this out of 5 possible you digs?
5, dog. 5.
5.
I can't choose between Day and Dawn. I'll let Miguel go because there's so much better stuff going on in this movie that I can ignore it, but still hate Miguel at the same time.
I agree. I'm with you.
I was gonna say
he's trash.
Damn, I forgot what I was gonna say when we were all talking. If I remember, I'll say it when everyone's all talking again.
You know it. I'm right there with you guys. I got 5 on it.
I got 5 on
Just like
it.
Jelani. 5, 5, 5. This is such a perfect trilogy. I begged for another one. We'll get to that. It could have ended with Day and it would have been perfect. It would have been momentous, but Romero had to make his statement too when the craze really took off in the 2000s. But Day of the Dead, a perfect film. I've already said everything I need to say. I know that you knew that I was coming up with a 5 you digs on there, but I love the hell out of these 3 Romero films, and I'm so excited. Let's look at the chat. Eric says, great movie, over the top, but very meaningful, nightmarish. 5. Aiden says 5, easily my favorite in the series. I can see why Romero considered this his favorite Dead film. The kills are brutal, the characters are great, and the ending is great. Absolutely. Fable says 5 you digs. Day is my favorite. I love the characters in this movie. Loved Sarah. Hell yeah, brother. The first movie to truly gross me out. So crazy how it makes you root for Bub and the zombies in the end. Classic. Yes. And now we're starting to get this turn.
Like the Dr. Frankenstein dead. And he like actually stands there and mourns him.
I know,
like, oh man,
classic.
Oh, dude, and what's even worse about it is he's going to find him to let him know that his chain came undone.
Yeah.
It's so sad, dude.
I want a little zombie.
No, you don't.
What's
that movie, Fido? Remember that movie, Fido, about the guy that keeps a pet zombie or whatever? It's so stupid. The movie's so stupid. But and Stefan comes in and says, 5 you digs what Fable said. I got 5 on it. And the other thing too is Romero wrote a much larger film, but in order to get it released unrated, which the other films were previously released unrated, which is not something that's easy to do, he had to slice the budget in half in order to get it released unrated, and so he had to streamline the movie down. In fact, I think his first plan, like there was this whole like encampment up on the ground with like people. And I think that this was going to be the first, I think this was the first idea he had of Dead Reckoning, the vehicle that he uses. And I think a lot of stuff from Land was pulled out of the much larger 400-page script for Day of the Dead. So we're now about to get into the last 3 of the Dead films, but we are going to take a quick break. So we'll be right back here. We got to take some piss. We got to take some smoke, and we got to go Lakers, crew. Lakers, man. What? Welcome back, everybody.
Yo, bro.
Today.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, can you believe how young Greg Nicotero was though when he first started? Well, he was like 19, bro, on Day of the Dead.
Because basically they were,
yeah,
and you know,
son of a bitch. That would be so fun.
It's what he pursued, you know, and he pursued it well, and he's had a great illustrious career out of it. I have to change the battery on my vape. I'll be right back.
Okay. I finally figured out what I was gonna say too. I wanted to tell you, Jake, because remember you were talking about them like eating the guts and stuff. I know, Robbie. Dude, those were rotten guts. Like they like got
Oh, it's like pig guts, right?
Yeah, but they were rancid. So they were like stingy. They would say like they would cut real quick, and then the guy would play Rhodes. They would be like waving because it would stink so bad. Rhodes' head was kind of like in place, you know, because that's why their hands are like all around its head, because it's an illusion, you know. Like, see, that's really Rhodes' head, but the body obviously is fake. But dude, like they were using like rotten guts, bro, and it just stunk. I forget how it happened, but I think they just like
they went on holiday. It was like during Christmas time or something, right? And so when they were gone, they cut the power, so the refrigerator was off for like a week or something.
That's it. Yep. And they didn't want to go buy new guts; they just used the old ones.
Yeah,
you know it.
And those extras. Those extras who just got
those
extras who just got like a free lunch, $1, and like a T-shirt, like we're just like all over those rotted ass guts, man.
$1 and a donut.
You know it. All right, y'all. Let's move this along. In the interest of time, because we do want to get to show and tell and a little bit of back chat, we're just going to kind of combine overall thoughts and theme all in one. Just run through our thoughts and do it. Plus, let's be honest, these last three are not as powerful as the first three. And I was thinking with the 5 you digs, I mean, I've never in my life given so many 5 you digs in a row.
Yeah.
Than I have over the last several weeks. But it is Horrorfest. And alas, that's what happens. So Land of the Dead came out in 2005. Now, I was a fan of these films from high school onward. And was craving, man, I would love the idea if he would have done one of these in the 90s. He wanted to do one every decade. He started writing it. He eventually got it financed because there was a mass revolution and resurgence in horror films post like 2000. And it led to this being financed, and a lot of zombie movies were going around, and he made his statement. Now, once again, his script had to be pared down to like kind of go into the realm of the budget. Land of the Dead, though, came out 20 years later in 2005. And it was obviously the first Romero Dead film I'd seen in the film, and the only one I've seen in the film because Diary and Survival just didn't release around here. So I have an interesting relationship with Land of the Dead. First of all, I like the movie. I think it's a good movie. When I rewatched it this time, I think I liked it better than almost any other time. When I initially watched it, I enjoyed it for the sake of having seen a zombie film by Romero in the theater, and that was a great experience to have in my life. But I thought it was kind of a little more trite, right? But in hindsight, in retrospect, I actually like what it's trying to say. I think it's saying something about ignoring the problem. That's what Romero even says. Especially in the post 9/11 world, it's this idea that there's these terrible things out there, terrorism and all this kind of stuff. But, well, we feel safe and secure because we're in our big, tall buildings and we're okay. And these people, we were talking about how meaningless money and possessions and items are in Dawn of the Dead. They haven't learned that lesson by Land because this dude, Dennis Hopper, this asshole's done made a whole like Fiddler's Green high rise, and as long as they're boarded up and protected, they think they're fine. And we go right back into this class-based society, and the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and all this kind of stuff. And it's being talked about. Meanwhile, there's this utter threat. But as long as those in the upwards of society feel safe and secure, they could give a shit about it. You know what I'm saying? And who's keeping them safe but the peons, right? And so you have that conflict there with John Leguizamo's character, Cholo, and Simon Baker's character, where they're both just trying to get out of there, but they both have different ideas about what to do. You also have, it is Asia Argento, right?
It's Asia.
Asia Argento in here, completing once again the Argento Romero connection. Of course, they also work together in that movie, Two Evil Eyes, Dario and Romero. I like Land. I do. The unrated version's better because they get to linger a little bit longer on some of the zombie gore. I like the zombie gore in this film when it's practical. I do not like the CG on this one. It sometimes feels like a video game. And I don't like about that, but there are still moments of the zombie makeup being great. I do like the character of Big Daddy. It's a bit more simple than what they did. It's not as nuanced or as rich as what they did with Bub, but I like that Big Daddy's also now starting to learn and he's now leading other people. And I love that the first thing that he really wants to do after him and his get got is he goes, whoever sits at the top of that fucking castle. And it's basically what it is. It's the villagers against the castle. It's even a moment. There's like a moment where John Leguizamo's like, your castle's coming fucking down. But I like it. And I also think that Dead Reckoning is a hellaciously awesome fucking vehicle. And can we get a toy?
Anytime.
Dead Reckoning?
Anytime.
Speaking of toys, Jelani, what do you think about Land of the Dead?
I like it. It has its moments. If anything, yeah, you mentioned Dead Reckoning. Dead Reckoning is the cleanest thing in this film. I mean, that's a zombie killing machine. If I was ever trapped in the zombie apocalypse, I would want a Dead Reckoning, and I want a crew like that crew, along with Peter and Ben, and all three of the civilians that survive in Day of the Dead. It's just that crew. Oh, and that guy from Diary of the Dead we'll talk about later. I would want that whole crew with me going through this apocalypse. It's okay. This is the first zombie Romero movie I've seen in the theater. I don't think I've seen any of the Romero movies other than Land of the Dead in theater. It's all right. The CG throws me off completely. I don't like it at all. I like some of the practical effects they attempt, like the cheerleader things and the priest. Oh no, the priest is in the other one. I'm sorry, but I get these mixed up now because they're all like in a ball to me. But basically, yeah, this one's okay. It's fine. I like the performances by Dennis Hopper. I actually like John Leguizamo in this.
I do too. I like his weapon, and he reloads it on his leg.
Yeah. I mean, I like the comeuppance they get. I love Big Daddy. If you're gonna root for a zombie, to take down a castle, why not Big Daddy? And I made him a wrestling character once in one of my games. I wanted Big Daddy.
That's awesome. I like the dual roles that Simon Baker and John Leguizamo play. They both want out of the life that they're currently in. They're basically enforcers. They go out and they get supplies. And you got John Leguizamo's character. He wants to be a part of that dream, right? And Simon Baker sees it for what it is. He just wants to get the fuck out of there, right? And when Leguizamo, obviously can't, he's not going to, Dennis Hopper's like, you're not going to be one of us, bro. Let's just be honest, right? And he goes off, he steals Dead Reckoning and all that stuff. And I love it because he's wanting $3 million. I'm like, bro, what are you going to do? Dude, you're done. Even if you get the $3 million, you're going to have to leave. If you blow up the fucking tower, it's gone. What do you need $3 million for, bro?
Yeah.
Simon Baker's got the right idea. Go up north. Absolutely. What about you, Jay Strick? What do you think about this film?
Yeah, I think it's a okay movie. I think I would be disappointed if I had watched, grew up with these first three, and then this was kind of like waiting on this. I would be pretty disappointed watching this because, I don't know. I just think it's like a bad video game in a sense. I don't know, but there is good. There is all the movies, even the last three, they still have that Romero, obviously great themes you can pick from. In this one, it's definitely that the humanity is a greater danger to itself than an outside threat. That's real, man. You see that with the higher class, boarding themselves off from everyone else, and and taking everything from the middle class and lower class, it's frustrating. I got that. So I guess that was a good takeaway from the movie.
It's a great moment at the end of it too, where one of those rich guys is there with all the people that are about to get eaten, and he just goes, "We're fucked, right?" And what I love is that when Dead Reckoning shows up, they're dead.
Yeah,
they're getting eaten.
they're getting
Like
that.
they don't save them, but then they do kill the zombies. At least,
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's something. I like the idea of like in Day, right? The character of Bub, he doesn't like full on remember everything, but he's starting to get some. But this one, it's like pretty much they know they're dead, and I'm just fucking here with the tuba chilling outside. It's just kind of a little hokey for me. I don't know. Big Daddy comes out.
Yeah,
Big Daddy comes out to pump the gas. I was like,
he gets to pump the gas at the end, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
I love that. I also love Dennis Hopper in this film, dude. My favorite Dennis Hopper moments, one of my favorite moments in this entire movie is when he's trying to escape, and that dude's like, "What are you doing with all that money?" He goes, "Oh God, watch out!" And he just shoots the guy. And then Simon Baker calls him, and he's like, "We found Dead Reckoning." He goes, "Oh, I just did something I probably wouldn't have done otherwise," or something like that. It's great. Speaking of doing things you wouldn't do otherwise, Brooks, what do you think about? What do you think about Land of the Dead?
I think this movie's pretty. It's fun. I mean, it's not as good as the first three. You know, it's different, but it still sticks to this formula. And I think this one explores like the zombies more than any of the other movies, like even more than Day a little bit, because it's like, now these zombies are just kind of like not only just attacking people, just because, but now like there's kind of a resentful bent to it. Well, this one zombie, like seeing all these fucking guys just coming around mowing down all of his buddies, and he's like, "Argh!"
Like that old man on the lawn, what you said last night.
On, you damn kids. And like this one made me think like, because like, in these movies, every time a group of people get together, they just in the end they just keep getting overwhelmed by zombies. So like what I concluded was like the only way to survive in this kind of society is just to go nomadic. You'd have to like have a group, and you'd have to keep moving, and like just kill zombies where you find them. Just keep moving, don't stop, because when you stop, they fucking move in, and then you get overwhelmed. Like I think that's the only way like humanity would be able to survive. You just have to go nomad for like maybe a century or so until like you thin them out.
Brooks is ready for that day.
He's prepared.
Brooks was built for that day.
I'd already had a plan on how to like bury my family if I had to, where I'd put them.
Oh my God, Delaney.
Yeah, dude, it got morbid. I told you, zombie movies, man. Movies,
let's just calm down on that,
man.
But Brooks was made for that life, because have you ever seen a grown man fucking scale a tree barefoot? I have, and it's Brooks.
Really?
Yeah.
He has. Yeah, I'm sure. That is Brooks.
Climb up in your tree, let the zombies walk by.
Yeah, ain't no zombie gonna climb no tree.
They gonna try.
They can't climb a ladder.
The zombie comes up with a ladder.
They doing dawn.
Like, God damn it.
Dawn. They're like 30. They're like 30 zombies on the top of the roof by the end.
They do get up the ladder.
They get up the ladder, and not one of them knocks it over.
Speaking of working up the ladder, Dylan, what do you think about Land of the Dead?
I like it. I think it has potential. I think if you would have taken the CGI stuff, this is the era where we get the CGI, and I don't like that. It has some good practical effects. It actually has one of my I'm a big fan of this guy. I don't know if any of you guys know him. His name's Christopher Nelson. He's the creator of the 2018 Halloween mask, and he's actually the creator of Twisty, the clown from American Horror Story. He's a makeup effects artist, and this was the first movie he worked with Romero. Actually, the only thing I think he worked with Romero on. He was from Pittsburgh, grew up in that culture, but I love the darkness to it. I feel like Robbie, where I've always thought it was I don't know if you've always thought it was a good movie. I've always thought it was good, decent, not bad. I mean, dude, Diary and Survival, those are way worse than Land of the Dead. I can have fun with this one. You know, when I see the CGI, I'm like, ugh, you know what I'm saying? But it's really dark. I love the scene when the zombies come out of the water. This is the beginning of the zombies can live underwater. Like, what was it? Diary or Survival, when they're just like, he's like, come in. I buried them, and they're just like,
yeah.
He's like, we got fucking zombies. Like, we got fish in the fish pond, or zombie fish in the fish pond, or whatever.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah, that's we'll get to
like
that theme for sure, man.
Yeah.
I will say this though, Dylan, and that in the Italian film by Lucio Fulci, Zombie 2, the zombie is underwater and it's surviving, and it even fights a shark.
Yeah,
so I'm just gonna say.
Yeah.
In the Italian film,
that one's good.
Well, that's it.
Only the Argento.
I forgot about that. You're right.
Watching.
I'm just taking me to snob.
Hit on that shit.
Well, that Argento did do Zombie 2, but whatever.
Oh, he didn't? Okay, which one?
No, that was
Fulci.
Yeah.
Oh.
Lucio Fulci. He did The Beyond. He did. Oh, dude, I showed Jay Strick that vomiting up the guts scene. By the way, it changed his life.
You see, bro.
City of the Living Dead. Yeah. Anyway, Dylan, continue. We're sorry.
You're good, bro. I don't care, man. But I do enjoy it though. I don't love it, but I enjoy it. I love the darkness of it though. It's like so dark the entire movie. Like, it's almost like it's like there's never light in this movie. It's just dark the entire time.
Castle, but yes. Fiddler's Green.
Yeah. Dennis Hopper and John Louis, however you say his last name. I like both of them. Luigi. I have fun with it.
Luigi and King Koopa.
I just wish they would have. Yeah. I wish they didn't have the CGI in it. I think if they would have they had Tom Savini as a zombie in it for half a second.
Yeah, and he's actually playing the same character from Dawn of the Dead, because he never dies, like gets shot in the head. So that was first. That was the first recurring character in one of these films.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He's even got the blade. He's got the stash. He's got the jacket. It's him.
I know he had the stash in the jacket. I didn't notice the blade.
You didn't pay attention because it was land.
He just got shot.
One of my biggest problems with this movie is that it's not called Twilight of the Dead.
Right?
Night, dawn, day, Twilight. That'd been fine, because this is kind of technically the end.
Yeah.
This is the because then Diaries kind of goes back to the beginning, and I think Survival takes place shortly after that beginning, not as far in as Land does, because the internet's still working. Right. But I don't think the internet's working in Land. They have some sophisticated ass equipment on Dead Reckoning.
I want that thing so bad.
I think the movie's good. I think it's saying a lot. I think it tries to. I think what it's trying to say is a bigger deal than the actual execution of the film. Some of the acting feels a little bit stiff. It feels a bit under budget. The CG does not work. Just use more practical. But it still does a lot of practical, and it was the last time until we get a resurgence of it in Survival. But you finally get some more of that Romero, gory goodness in Land. I think Leguizamo does a great job. Some of the characters are a bit one note and cliche, but so were they in Day of the Dead. So I do like Land. So overall, out of 5 possible you digs, you out there in the chat, let us know, what do you give Land of the Dead, and what do you give it, Jelani?
I give this one it's just like a 3.5. It's okay. I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna watch it again though. After this last time, it was so hard to find, and I thought it'd be easier because it came out in 2005. Really? It was harder for me to find. I have no clue why.
I couldn't find Diary.
Yeah, I found Diary and Survival easy for some reason. They're even on my cable. I was mad. I was like, really? And not Dawn?
Dawn? Yeah, Dawn and Diary were the hardest. Dawn and Diary were the hardest. The others I found the others like that. It was no
3.5 is respectable.
But yeah, 3.5.
3.5 is a good rating.
All that goes to
It
Dead
is.
Reckoning, bro. That's all goes to Dead Reckoning.
All goes to Dead Reckoning. Okay.
That's it.
All right, Dylan, what about
And
you out
Dennis
of 5 you digs? What do you give it?
Me?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, Dylan.
3 out of 5. I'm actually surprised Jelani didn't go lower, since he seems like he doesn't like it. And I
no.
actually do enjoy
We're
it.
not there yet.
I won't. Yeah, true. That's true. I haven't seen this movie since it probably came out, so that's probably why. Like, I think it's fresher. So it's not one I could watch all the time or every year like the other one. But I could watch it every few years probably if I'm like watching, like, I could go to 1 through 4, but that's it. I'm never watching Diary or Survival again.
Gotcha. What about you, Jay Strick?
Unless you make me, Robbie.
Oh, I will. Each of these movies deserves its own 3-hour stream. Trust me.
Yeah, I really didn't like this, y'all. 2.5. I'd be good if I never saw it again. If I'm being honest.
Okay, be honest. Yeah, tell us.
Yeah, I'm just being honest. Like
Don't lie.
Yeah, shit on it.
I thought, to me, out of all of them, really, I don't know if okay, maybe 2.5 is harsh. I feel kind of bad now.
No, dude,
anyway, I'm digressing. What I'm wanting to say is there was a lot of useless characters, and I felt like, not like there wasn't some useless characters in the earlier ones, right? But like, I just didn't care about anyone in this movie. Like, nobody mattered. It's like,
Yeah, they didn't.
They would introduce an interesting character for like a second, and then they would die. And so I'd be like, all right, cool. All right. I guess I like the tuba guy. Yeah, I digress. That's all I got.
Okay. All right. What about you, Brooks?
I give this one a 4. This is a fun movie. In comparison to like the rest of the series, it lags a little bit, but I still enjoyed the hell out of this movie. Like, I thought it was a lot of fun. I think it was like an action zombie movie, sort of.
It was actiony, and that's something that Romero wanted to do. He wanted to do in Day of the Dead and wasn't able to, right? So I'm going to give this a 4 as well. It's a fun movie. I enjoy watching it. Dennis Hopper cracks me up. I love the absurdity of it. It feels like it goes back to the idea. It's dark still and bleak, just like Day, but it goes back to a little bit of the fun nature that was present in Romero's American cut of Dawn of the Dead. So I'm going to give it a 4, which I think is pretty solid, and it's enjoyable to me. And I actually, out of the last 3, this is by far the best one. And then 3 years later,
okay,
we get Diary. But before we get to that, let's take a look at the chat. Aiden says the atmosphere is great inland. I agree, and I love the shit like the fireworks. That's clever to me, and I like it. And I like that when Simon Baker's character and John Leguizamo's character first have their conflicts because they get this kid killed, who I'm pretty sure is the kid from Diary of the Dead.
It is.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
So I'm wondering if there's some kind of connection there where, like, because he survives Diary, right? Doesn't he? And so maybe he winds up with this group, but he gets killed because he's trying to get liquor. And I love when he goes to try to impress Dennis Hopper, and he brings the cigar and like he pours it in the wrong glass. And if you notice, Dennis Hopper goes and grabs the right glass and puts it in. You notice that?
Mm-hmm.
I think he even uses his own champagne. Anyway, let's look at the chat. Fable says 3.5 you digs, a decent enough premise. Stefan says 3.5 you digs, wasn't bad, wasn't that memorable. Eric says 4, something bad for something. Bad lighting for me, and taking back of the vehicle was dumb. I like that moment where he just kind of gives up. It's a real quick kind of thing, though. Yeah. Two Gun says, what's up, Two Gun? Pew pew. Says 3.5. Aiden says 4, a fun conclusion to the series, and I like the characters a lot. It's my least favorite in the series, but it is a good film. Just a little heartbreaking knowing the master lost his touch. Damn. I don't know if it was that or the idea that this was the first time he made a studio Hollywood picture, really. Yeah, I mean, he had done things before, higher profile things, like maybe you could consider like Dark Half and things like that. But this was really I think the most money he ever had. And he even said that he thinks the problem with the Land of the Dead is that he had too much money. So he had too much he wanted to do.
Yeah, you could tell.
So
You
in
can tell.
2007, we get Diary of the Dead, another one. It goes back to the initial outbreak. It's a found footage style type movie about this group of college kids, and they're making a mummy movie, which I love that. You know, they're having a Mummy Monday, and then the zombie outbreak happens, and this dude's obsessed with filming it. I love the idea of this film, and when its movie first came out back in the day, and I've only seen it a few times back when it first came out.
We watched it.
I remember thinking, and Jelani may remember me saying this, that I thought it was as good as Night. You know, like that it was like bringing us back to that level. It felt real. It felt grounded. It felt like it was in your face. This is also the age of found footage film. But even for a found footage film, you got to disconnect a little bit because it's kind of shot too well for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's holding that camera way too often. Like he shouldn't be filming this movie, entire movie.
In a series which is populated by some not so good actors. This is the worst acted movie in the franchise. It's really poorly acted.
And you can argue with the last one too with that, but yeah.
I think this is worse because in that one, Simon Baker's great. John Dennis Hopper.
No, I meant Survival, not Land.
No, we're not there yet. Yeah. We're not there yet, kids.
Just Diary. Rewatching it this time, Diary was not as good as I remembered it, and I did not really enjoy the film. It barely had any gore. It had some nice moments, but they all kind of happened abruptly. I love the professor character. He's kind of funny, but even he's at times is a pretty poor actor.
That's the whole. I never knew what he was saying.
My favorite moments in this film are all about when the military shows up, and it's the dude from Survival, right? Mm-hmm. And he shows up, and he's like, "Turn off the fucking camera." And the next thing you see, they're just driving off with their shit. And then Samuel, the deaf Amish guy.
Yeah, Samuel's the goat of the movie.
They really should have utilized that character a lot more.
I'm Samuel. Hello.
But it's also a thing too where the movie has a tonal clash because it's trying to be this in your face. Let's get back to the root of it. Let's get back and make it raw. Let's make a statement. It's not very gory. I don't think it doesn't satisfy that itch. It feels a little bit more real and grounded, but like, and then when the Samuel scene happens, as badass as it is, it's just out of nowhere this hokey fucking shit again. You know what I'm saying? And then it tries to get super real again. And like everybody, like it's so melodramatic. You know what I'm saying?
All of them. Well, they're all actors.
I don't really like this film that much, man. I hate to say it. What about you, Jelani?
Yeah, I can't stand this film, man. The first time I saw it, I thought it was decent. I really do. I thought, I was like, it's not anywhere on parallel to the original three. The original trilogy, and I think Land does a better job of setting up their having likable characters. There's nobody here I liked other than Samuel, and the black dude. Was it? I forgot his name. The one that they were in the barracks with, the guy that was on the guard. Mm-hmm. I love him. He was great. Like he was the most sound person in the movie, other than Samuel, who doesn't speak. And I'm like, wow. I don't like any of these people. They are all trash. And I'm like, yeah, when they all died, I was like, I don't care. Even the girl at the end, what was don't mess with Texas. She does. She gets away.
I do like that bit where at the beginning, so you're making the movie, she's like, what? Why do the girls always trip? And what, so you wanted to get a little bit more of my tits? Well, no way. And then it fucking happens.
Yep. It happens. And I'm like, wow, he filled all that. And it's like, that's the scene he wanted. That's what the motivation he wanted for the movie. And that was so cool. But, I just don't like those characters. The professor, I can't stand the most because, like I said, I didn't put it on subtitles, but I should have because I didn't know a word that man said. I don't think he found a sentence other than why'd you pick the bow and arrow? It's friendlier. That's it. That's the only thing.
It's a little too pretentious almost at times, and there are big leaps. Like all of a sudden, everybody is just like, "You're disgusting. Why don't you just film it with your camera?" And it's just like it gets over the top for me. Jay Strick, what do you think about this one?
I mean, yeah, I thought it was okay. I think you guys nailed it with the pretentiousness, right? It's like we get it. You're doing a lost footage movie. Like I got it. I don't know. There's I guess to say something positive about it, the idea behind it, right? I think you said that right. It really is solid at its core. The acting is truly atrocious.
It's most heinous, bro.
It's most non-heinous. Yeah, I could have used some station in this, you know.
Station.
I think, man, I just don't have. I'm trying to think of some.
Well, you were talking about what the movie, the idea,
so like,
and the idea about like, once again ahead of his time, and we talked about this at the beginning of the show, but like about the whole idea of what everybody now has a camera. Everybody's uploading footage of themselves. We're now in the media of social media, and at the time, it's MySpace, which is always fun to see MySpace referenced in a movie. But yeah, speak on that.
You could even take me a step further, right? Because I was thinking about that today in the sense of like, say something like this. We're in a pandemic right now, and even in this movie with the outbreak, it's like people would care too much about their craft than the people in front of them or the relationships that they're forming, right? These guys are so locked in on their documentary and uploading it, and it's like, dude, there's a fucking crisis happening right in front of us.
It's like one of our friends will be getting attacked by a zombie. They're just standing there.
They're just standing there. They're just standing there. You're right, Brooks.
And look at shit today. That's what happens.
Exactly. They don't. Nobody wants to help. Nobody wants to come in and actually do something. And that's the whole film. They're just kids. They're just dumb kids, and it feels like that in this film. It has no heart. Yeah, station, but yeah, it's not a clean film because of it. Because you don't care about anybody, and you want to. It gives you an option to, but you don't. Like I hate Jason. I hate him talking. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going too far. I'm sorry. I gave my opinion.
Get 78,000 hits.
You'll be a million.
What about you, Dylan?
I don't care, man.
What do you think about Diary of the Dead?
Is he frozen?
You said me?
Yeah, Dylan, you.
You scared. You buffer.
No, it was you, but that's okay. Dude, that was creepy though, wasn't it? On our side,
it skipped. It buffered.
Yeah.
All we saw were just you
It's
and then
not
a light smile. It was so creepy. All for you, Dylan. All for you.
All for you.
The damn Wi-Fi is fucking up again, ain't it?
Your pause.
What you get for trespassing in
You
Burma?
hear me?
Yeah, man, we can hear you. What do you think about Diary of the Dead? All right, Brooks, what do you think about Diary of the Dead?
Just I'll be right back.
I like this movie. I mean, it's got a lot of problems, but I like the message of the movie, like that, like, you know, how cruel and callous people have become towards, you know, the zombies, how they like fucking, you know, do these kind of fucked up things to them just for their own amusement, and how that kind of cruelty and callousness is starting to spill over into, you know, the living and the living. Like, you know, people are resentful of other living people because, you know, now it's like, oh, you're using resources that could be mine. And, you know, this idea that people have of like how much of hating or not being able to deal with an idea of, you know, giving up something for themselves, you know, to help somebody else.
Yeah.
Which I think is a very a modern problem. I think a lot of, you know, just people just like being so selfish and, you know, not caring about any kind of greater good, like despite the fact, you know, that even if you're giving up like so little, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
That kind of mentality that people have in this movie. It's kind of like holding a mirror up to that, which is, I think, is the strong suit of this movie. Despite, and I think it kind of makes up a little bit for the not so good acting and such.
Gotcha. All right, Dylan, what about you? What do you think about Diary of the Dead?
Sorry about that, bro. Damn.
You're fine, brother, man. What do you think? We're eager. We're shivering with anticipation.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think this one, like, it's not as underlined, like the tone of what's going on or what he's really trying to show. I think this one's more in your face a little bit. I mean, it's not really hard to see that, you know, if the world went to hell, I mean, that people would act like assholes and really only care about themselves. But it's crazy to see that, you know, like I know you said it, the 78,000 hits, and all he begins to kind of care about, no matter, he might not say it, is that, you know, he's trying to get this film done and show what's really happening, because he's like saying that the news isn't showing what's really happening, and he's showing that raw footage that people won't see otherwise, and they need to know what's going on, which is the truth. I mean, that shit don't happen nowadays, you know. I mean, sometimes it does, and when it does, it stirs some crazy shit, you know.
Yeah, and you know, they even point out in the film how like the news changes that footage of the initial outbreak.
It's been edited.
Yeah.
And Romero's in that footage.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. I keep forgetting.
Well, he's like the police captain or whatever, right?
Yeah. He's the racist police captain.
Yeah.
Once again, though, Romero on the money with, you know, being ahead of the curve of his time, man. And just, it's like, dude, was this dude a fucking prophet, man? Like, dude knows, like, he saw what the world was. I mean, his eyes were just open, man. Like, he didn't have those goggles on, you know, like his vision was just completely there, you know. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's phenomenal, especially, you know, for a movie that's not that good, you know. But
all right, Diary of the Dead. What are you out there in the chat? What do you give it out of 5 possible you digs? Jelani, what do you give Diary?
I'm giving this the 2.5. This is the 2.5. It's not really well acted. I see the execution of it. I know what he wanted. The execution of it's not that great, but I know what he's trying to do. I see that he had a good story in mind. It is in the found footage area, so you're gonna have those kind of films, and I got tired of them after a while. But even that last Exorcist or whatever that was, that had the ending where it gave you a website. Oh, I'm so over found footage after that. But like, you made me watch this whole film and nothing happened. What the fuck? I gotta go to a website to find out what happened. Fuck you. Fuck you. Anyway, but with this film, 2.5. I'm not gonna watch it again. I remember watching this before and probably giving it a higher score, thinking it a higher of it. But now with newer eyes, with older eyes, and see how technology is kind of dated itself too. So I get it. I get what you're trying to do. I want to upload to the net, you know, and they got perfect like connection in a moving vehicle. There's a TV running. And I was like, wow, that's cool. How did you do that? But other than that, it's just, it's just mad at me. But 2.5.
What about you, Jay Strick?
Yeah, I'll give it the same as Jelani, 2.5. I didn't enjoy this film. I'd be good if I didn't see it again, but that's okay too. And I like the idea of it. Delivery was off, I feel like. But hey,
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
What about you, Brooks?
I'd give this one a 3. It's a pretty average movie overall, I think. But you know, it still has it's still a Romero movie. It still has that, you know.
Yeah.
It still has a little bit of the magic in it.
Gotcha. Just a little bit of it, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Dylan?
Of that Romero dust.
Just hardly any zombies like doing anything.
Yeah, and some of the kills are just. Yeah.
What about you, Dylan?
But go ahead.
I'd probably give it 2.5. I was debating between 2.5 and 3, but it's not one I probably ever will watch again. I've only seen it. I saw it. I don't know if I ever did watch this one. It's so hard to tell. I mean, because so many of those, you know, video footage movies were coming out that I feel I remember it, but it just doesn't leave a lasting impression like the first 4 do. I like the message. I do like the ending, which I mentioned way earlier about. That's the best part almost to me, is that like those crazy guys playing target practice, and then the girl saying like, "Are we worth saving?" That I was like, wow, you know, like that stuck out to me. Like and it was like probably the only thing that stuck out. So
And it had to be at the end.
and it was the ending.
For me, I'm going to give it 3 you digs. It's still a Romero zombie film. I think it still has some of that magic, like Brooks was saying, but it's to me the worst of the entire franchise, and I even am considering Survival of the Dead. I don't really like Diary of the Dead that much. I like what it's trying to do, but I don't like the acting. I don't ever really relate to any of the characters. To be honest with you, the Texas lady is the one that I would probably not relate to, but I like the mummy dude, like when he's going fucking crazy at the end. That's kind of fun. But overall, it falls a little bit flat to me, and it's still a decent zombie film, but it's not a great Romero film, you know? And so if you look at it across all the zombie films, all the trash especially too, it's better than most, but it's at the bottom of Romero's shit for me. So yeah, and out there in the chat we got Aiden, who actually likes the film, says 4.5. I like the characters, and it has some fun moments. I like the message of the film, and the song at the end is great.
Respect it.
Two Guns says 2 you digs. Fable says 2 you digs. This movie wasn't great. I agree with you guys. I like the idea, but found footage stuff turns me off.
Respect
and I don't even mind the found footage aspect of it. It's a cool concept, but it's a little too pristine if that's what you're going for.
Shaky cam. That's what
you almost
need.
just want him to go back to the normal narrative, which he does in 2007. Now, here's what's crazy. And here's maybe what happened with these films. Night of the Living Dead in the 60s, right? Dawn in the 70s, Day in the 80s. Romero wanted to do one for each decade to reflect what's going on in that decade. The 90s one wound up becoming 2004's Land of the Dead, which I think is pretty solid too. But then after that, 2 more back to back out of nowhere, right? Let's talk about 2007 Survival of the Dead. Survival of the Dead is an interesting one. Let's just say that. This is a very much... Brooks watched it for the first time with me last night. And I told him, I was like, and I think I told Strickland this before he watched it. I was like, you got to remember, Survival of the Dead is like a fucking cartoon. It's like a Looney Tunes cartoon. Now, here's my latest report on Survival, which this was the second time I had seen it. And I remember the first time I saw it thinking, it's not my favorite Romero movie, but I laughed a lot. And when I rewatched it last night, I laughed a lot. So I enjoy this film. I like this film. I like also, once again, he's actually saying something. He's talking once again about these two sides. They don't even remember what they're fighting for. They don't even remember why they hate each other at certain points, but they just hate each other. And it's about that. And the zombies are an after effect to me in this. But even to the point where they all die at the end, basically, right? But the idea that these two feuding heads of these families, right? They're zombies and they're still going through the motions of trying to kill each other. They don't even know why. That hate gets ingrained into us. We choose a side, left or right, white or red, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Alabama or Auburn. We choose a side and we stick with it and we hate the others. And that's what this movie's about to me. It's also stylistically a Western romp. It is a Western film. It's the most open-looking Romero film out there, right? And it's because he's actually making a zombie Western without being really on the nose about it being a Western. But at the same time, it's a cartoon. Those dudes literally get blown up in that shack, and their faces are just filled with, like, soot. And they're like, Jesus, what the fuck was that? It's so freaking funny. The zombie kill where he uses the fire extinguisher and blows out the eyeballs. It's ridiculous. I have so much fun with this movie. I actually like this movie because it's fucking funny as shit. What do you think, Jelani? And I love the main Irish dude or whatever. I love him. He cracks me up.
Good luck to you.
The fact that he's using YouTube to like pull this scam on fucking people.
Yeah. Come on out to the island. There's stuff. He's like, nope. How do we get a boat? All your stuff. Give me all your stuff. Okay.
You good?
Fuck this movie. Fuck this movie. Fuck this movie. Fuckity fuck this movie. This is the third movie I watched. I watched them out of order. So I watched Night, and then I watched Diary, and then I watched Survival, and I was all pissed. And then I watched Dawn, then Day, then went back and
European cut.
Yeah, I need to watch the European cut. But I hate this movie. This movie fucking angers. Like, I was gonna stop watching these and just tell you, hey, dude, I'm not gonna come on tonight, because this is how far Romero has fallen, and I hate that he ended his zombie career with this film, because
he ended his career with this film.
Ended his carear with this
I
film.
think this was the last film he did. Yeah.
This is the last one he did, and I hate that this is the last one he did, because like I really hate those. I hate that the reveal that they're twins.
Oh, that's so stupid.
It's so stupid. One's dead riding a horse. She trying to. How'd she get on the horse? Did she die on the horse? And then this whole time she's riding on the horse, and he's like, and the McCutcheon guy or whatever, he's like, I want to make her feed her on her own horse.
Yeah, that was weird.
I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you making your wife change to the kitchen? Why do you want this stinking dead corpse like eating near your food? I mean, I gotta fight it every time I gotta go get something out the refrigerator at night. I mean, mad as hell. No, you don't domesticate them. Just like back in the first Day of the Dead. I hate this film. There's so much I want to pick apart about this. I hate the main character, the dude that stole from people at Diary of the Dead. I'm supposed to like him now? Fuck that guy. I hate that. Yeah. I hate both girls. I hate both daughters. I hate that the alive daughter is dumb enough to walk up to her sister, who she knows is a zombie, and then put her hand out. Look at my sister.
She goes, you bitch.
You bitch. No shit. Fuck this movie. Fuck it. I hate this movie. If I gotta give it negative stars, I would. I give it negative, you digs. This movie fucking sucks. I never want to see it again.
I think Diary's worse.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Diary's bad. Diary is at least redeemable with certain things. This film is not redeemable in the slightest to me. Oh my god, I hate it. Here it comes. I hate it as much as I hate Ben Affleck.
Damn, dude.
Damn.
What did he say?
All right.
I really enjoyed that rant, buddy.
He said that he hated it as much as he hates Ben Affleck, and if you know Delaney, he hates Ben Affleck. I'll tell you this.
He ruined Batman.
I slightly disagree with you, but your rant about it was probably more entertaining than the movie. Jay Strick, what do you think about Survival?
I hate this, man, because I feel like I'm typically a positive person, and I just don't have anything.
But you got to be honest, man.
I know. What can I say that Delaney didn't say? Like, that's really how I feel about it. It was not a good movie. I was wishing I was doing anything else besides watching it. and the way that ending, I don't think I've ever been more triggered by an ending with them just standing off. Like I get it. They were doing the Western thing, but I was really upset by that. And it was a movie.
I got you. What about you, Brooks?
I thought this one was all right. It was kind of dumb in parts, but it was funny too. It was definitely the funniest, I think, out of all of the Romero films.
I mean, yeah.
Like every time the zombies showed up in this movie, it goes into like a Looney Tunes cartoon all of a sudden.
Oh, I'm hanging upside down, and now zombies coming for me, and while another one's hanging me upside down.
It gives it some kind of problems with a tone and such, but I still thought it was pretty good. It wasn't too bad, I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Brooks, man. Me and Brooks had a good time watching it last night.
Yeah,
man. It was real fun.
Our asses off watching this movie.
We were drinking wine, but we were also laughing our asses off. But we were. I mean, it was like, and we kept being like, Jesus, what the fuck was that? Just like,
maybe I need to be drunk.
It just cracks me up. I'm surprised you weren't, man. What about you, Dylan? What do you think about Survival?
It's funner. I probably say I like it better than Diary. It's funner to watch, but it's still cheesy and stupid. but it's so cheesy and stupid that you could have fun with it, I guess.
Yeah, right.
It is a bummer to see, that be George Romero's last film, but yeah, it has a lot of dumb stuff going for it.
Hold on, question. Stuff. This wasn't supposed to be like a funny movie. It was supposed to be serious, right?
Exactly.
Okay, that's what I thought.
This is supposed to be funny because me and Brooks watched even the introduction that George Romero filmed, and it was a gag. Was it not, Brooks?
Oh, was it really?
Around with like some zombies in the back, and he kept turning around and shooting one.
And he even said, "This is a fun." He goes, "This is a fun movie, and I hope it causes you to have a few chuckles." Okay. That's what he said.
Maybe
he was
trying to be lighthearted.
Dude, he did not blow up this shack with these dudes in it and then fucking have them it was so funny to me. And then they immediately all get fucking blown away and eaten. I love it. I love it. I think it's fine. All right, out of the ratings. You out there in the chat, let us know as well. What do you give Survival of the Dead out of 5 you digs, Jelani? I can guess your answer.
Just say it.
You can't go negative.
It's good. 1 to 5, right?
0 to 5.
Or 0.
0.1.
Okay.
I'll give it like something. No, I won't. I'll give it a 0. This gets 0 you digs. 0. Goose egg. Nada. I will never watch this film again. I hate George Romero ended on this. I feel terrible that those twins exist. Every character was either not likable or I didn't even care about the ranch hand guy. You know, the ranch hand guy that they were trying to
Yeah.
I'm glad I hired you. You was in prison. I got you out of prison. Now you're gonna be doing work for me. And I'm like, I don't care. He used to love the dead girl, and then he gets the dead girl and ropes her off the horse. How did she die? And they put on the horse the first time.
Looks like someone else is hiring now. Got the leg.
And then she never eats her horse, and then they eat the horse. And then I'm like, why are you eating the horse now? And the horse has been running around.
I know, poor horse.
What about you, Jay Strick?
I mean, since you told me it was more supposed to be funny, it kind of changes I thought it was supposed to be serious, so.
I mean, bro, you watched that movie thinking it was trying to be serious.
Dude, I categorize all these movies in seriousness. The first 5 are serious, and then this one's not.
Now, I heard that there's a rumored European cut of this film that's a lot better.
Are you serious?
Written by Dario Argento.
So it's perfect.
And it's got every goblin track you'll ever hear.
I'll give it to you, Diggs. Yeah, the twins was weird.
That was dumb.
It was, yeah. To you, Diggs.
What about you, Brooks?
I give this one 3. It's good. I think a lot of the humor makes it for me. Just how much this movie made me laugh. It made it worth the watch. And overall, it's not that great a movie, but I don't think it's that terrible a movie either. I don't think it's insulting or anything.
Gotcha.
It's just subpar for Romero, I think.
What about you, Dylan?
Jelani was insulted.
It's pedestrian. It's a pedestrian film.
What about you, Dylan?
I'll give it 3. Since I gave Diary a 2.5, I'll give it 3 because I think it is better than Diary. At least you can have fun with it. With Diary, I'll never have fun with that movie. It is what it is, but yeah, I'll give it a 3.
All right, I'm gonna give it a. Gotcha. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I have fun with this film. It's pretty funny to me. It's ridiculous. I love that Irish dude who's just a fucking con artist. I love the idea that he's trying to do it with the feuding families on the island. I love the return of the character from Diary of the Dead. I hate the girl, the young woman with the fucking twin, and riding the horse. I even asked Brooks, I was like, "Did she die on that horse?"
Exactly. Did she die?
I was like, that horse wouldn't just keep running with that.
Bro, dude, I'm going to tell you this. Brooks' reaction when they revealed the twin sister, Brooks goes, "You got to be fucking kidding me."
Really? What the fuck?
What the fuck? Anyway, but I give it a 3.5 because I have fun with it. I have fun with it. Diary and Survival don't need to exist. I'm glad Land does. I really am glad that Land exists. But those two I could do without, but I'm glad they exist. I like all these films. I'll watch them all again. I just love Romero too damn much for that. But he even has other great films, y'all, that are not just zombie films. Night Riders is one definitely to check out. Martin was well ahead of its time. Two Evil Eyes, which you did with Dario
David
Argento.
Hasselhoff's in it.
No.
I love Two Evil Eyes. I love
Two
that
Evil
movie.
Eyes is great. The Dark Half, Monkey Shines is fan-fucking-tastic, man.
Yeah, bro.
Bruiser. God, there's so many great films that he's actually done, and we definitely, now that we did all the Dead films, we definitely got to start diving into some of his other films. So let's see what everybody in the chat said. Fable said 2.5 you digs. Dylan pretty much summed it up. 2 gun, pew pew. Pedro says 2 you digs. Aiden says, fun fact, Romero considered Day and Survival his favorites in the series. Day, Dawn, Survival are my top 3 Dead films. Very interesting. Eric says, this was the 4th best movie. Did not like what happened with the daughters. She can get on a horse when she's dead like the father. The reason they went to the island was dumb. 4.5? Wait, what? That seems like a high rating.
What?
Seems like a high rating for your critique there. Yeah, Bruiser's a good one too. It's got the guy from Lock, Stock, and 2 Smoking Barrels in it. He's like loses his face. You guys remember that film? Anybody?
Yeah. Nope.
All right. So hey, we did it. All 6 Dead films. You guys down for a show and tell? Quick round of show and tell?
We can do it quick.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break, a bit of an intermission, and we're coming back just for a quick show and tell, and then we're out because it's midnight here and past midnight.
Late.
Wow.
It's getting late.
It's getting late.
All right, we'll be right back, y'all. just like that song so much. All right. We obviously can't do the full-on PCP back chat because we had to cover 6 fucking movies tonight. But show and tell time. Jelani, you're up first. Show us what you've got.
All right, I got a few things. But we'll be quick about it. I got my Hasbro PulseCon 2-pack set of this gentleman here.
Logan.
And Logan, he is amazing. This is the second head sculpt. There's like a nice one where he's not like as angry. I'm not showing that. Then the next one is of course Professor Xavier, Professor X from Logan.
Nice.
My only Picard figure. I don't have a Picard head for anything, so now I do. I think that's awesome. Next, really quick, I want to show off this bad guy.
Beautiful.
I finally got him. So
you got a Vincent D'Onofrio figure.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, because they never
You embarrassed me in front of her.
I love this figure, man. It's so awesome.
Who ate the jelly donut?
Full Metal Jacket. And then finally, I
understood that reference.
We're already in a world of shit.
Look at the Marvel Legends horror up here tonight, y'all.
I love this War Machine.
That's the best Marvel Legend they've done since Night Thrasher.
This is freaking awesome, and he comes with his own base.
It comes with the base.
Yeah, he's so awesome. This is the figure of the year, to be honest. He comes with the James Rhodes head. Oh my god,
the '90s James Rhodes head.
Yeah, he's got that fade.
Is it Terrence Howard or?
He's got part.
It's the comic book, bro.
This is the comic book version.
It's the comic book, man.
Straight from the '90s.
Straight from the 90s. Dude.
All I need is Silver Centurion to do the pack. But this is what I'm calling the figure of the year so far. If they don't come out with anything better for a Marvel Legend, this is it. This is the jam. And then finally, I'm gonna start off with these McFarlane figures keep getting better and better. This is Grim Knight.
Nice.
I am so happy with this figure. Like
I'm getting the pop.
It stands. Pops are going out, man. But
yeah, they're on their way out.
He's got their guns. He's got these guns in the back that are like bat wings. Oh god, it's clean.
When did that come out?
I haven't read this came out like this week. These came out like this week.
Yeah.
So
Delaney, by the way, has never read the Grim Knight, so weird stretch, bro.
That is a weird stretch.
But look at it. I haven't read the Batman Who Laughs either, and I have that figure, and that's the best figure.
Well, that's where you. I know you haven't read the Batman Who Laughs because that's where you meet the Grim Knight, asshole.
It is where you meet.
It's great.
You should read it. I'll let you borrow it, dude. It's really good. I got the hardcover.
I'll definitely want to.
I have all the issues too, but I'll let you borrow the hardcover.
That's a weird stretch.
Great, man. But like, there's a new set that's going to be coming out.
Hey,
soon.
I also have the European cut of it.
Argento sculpted that figure.
He sculpted it. Yeah, but yeah, these are great figures. McFarlane is a beast. Had he not done, he's even improved his ankle rockers, where you can bend this and pose this any way you want.
Nice.
So you can pose the figure any way you want, and he has statue figures, but this has got to be his crowning achievement. So yes, that
hell yeah
is awesome. That's me.
That's a good show and tell. Dylan, show and tell. You're up. Show us what you've got.
I got the for the only zombie kind of character I got. The
nice. Is that from 3D?
Part 6.
It's 6.
Yeah, I think I got it light though.
Yeah, Part 6, the Aztec version.
Yeah.
Oh, let me finally turn on my fucking light that actually makes it so that YouTube audience can see me.
Wow.
Nobody wants to
I like
see
that
me.
face.
I'm chilling in the dark like Brooks.
Oh yeah, that's the New Zealand edition, right?
Dude, that's the Jason Lives one, man. I really want that one.
It's so dope. I love it. That's
the one I would want, man. That's the one I would want.
Bro, calm down.
Oh yeah. This is no toy or nothing, but I thought my mom got these and it's dope as hell. I don't think you'll
Oh, that's
see.
cool.
Oh, that's cool as shit, bro.
It's like a crystal ball of bats.
Send me
That
that.
is cool. I wonder where
I
she
think
got
you got
that
like
from.
Bath and Body Works weird stretch for real, bro.
Bro, send me that
Really?
ball and send me your chain.
I
That looks
need
really
that.
cool.
So,
That
I
is really
need
awesome.
that. That's so fucking cool.
Bath
Isn't
and
it
Body Works or Bed Bath
Yeah.
and Beyond.
weird? Because the candle's supposed to go on here,
Oh,
like on the top.
Wow.
But I
That's
love it, dude. It's so cool. And
That's really cool.
I wanted to, like, I got these lights I want to put up around and put up a couple more, like some more Halloween things for when we do the show, since we're officially in October.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got this too a couple days ago. I'm waiting on my Return of the
Nice.
Living Blu-ray to come in. I just got to get
It's my
Halloween.
third. That's my third favorite Halloween film.
Is it? Yeah, I love it.
It's no longer canon,
story.
sir.
It's not canon.
I gotta
Well, they
get
took that
Halloween.
out of canon and H2O. Why don't you grow up, Jay Strick, and act like you know something?
Yeah, dude.
It went out of canon in 1998, you motherfucker. I was there.
Yeah, me
I
too.
love that music. Oh,
I was there too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Prove it.
Very nice, Dylan.
Let's go back in the darkness.
Speaking of darkness, Brooks, show and tell. You're up. Show us what you've got.
I wanted to kind of keep with the theme. First, I want to show off my pumpkin.
My
nice.
man, Snoops.
Snoop.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is my.
that's very nice.
See, that's the
my
type of
pumpkin,
stuff
so I don't
I
have to
want.
go to the
Put around
grocery
my
store and cut open some stupid gourd and do all that nonsense. And in keeping with the theme, I got one of my pops here. Jill? Is that you, Jill?
Jill Valentine. Ha
Classic Jill from Resident Evil 1.
Nice.
Because, you know, I got to have that Jill, man.
That's right.
And I'm, in order to, you know, have some more zombie stuff to talk about, I picked out my top 3 Magic the Gathering zombies.
Oh.
Love it.
And starting off with old Cemetery Reaper here.
Okay.
Your boy, he buffs up your zombies. And you got the zombie factory. You can pay a certain amount and exile a creature from a graveyard. And he says, you got a zombie.
Tap my land.
And the second would be Unbreathing Horde. It's power and it gets counters on equal to the number of zombies in your graveyard and battlefield. And it's like a zombie wall. So each time it gets dealt damage, instead of like taking the damage, you just lose a counter. So it's like every time it gets hit, you just lose one zombie from the horde.
Dope.
Damn, that's like a metaphor for the Romero movies.
You make me want
that's the
to.
most like Night of the Living Dead zombie card I have.
Brooks, you make me want to play you in Magic, man. I got to put together that
Murph. Get the game together, bro.
Yeah, I got to put together that Merfolk deck again.
Fuck that deck. Here's my fave, Vengeful Pharaoh. This boy is like, he's a bad boy. He's got Death Touch, which means any amount of damage he does will destroy the creature. And he has a special thing, like if he's in your graveyard and a creature hits you, you can have that creature destroyed and put him on top of your library. So he like comes back. He's a bad boy.
That's nice.
And I got my book.
Oh shit.
Which you and me I was telling you about the other night, last night.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Nice.
The 3-in-1, Frankenstein, Dracula, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. All one delectable package.
Oh, that's cool.
Delectable. Oh. Very nice, Brooks. I like how you themed it.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta find some zombie stuff, man.
I don't need zombie stuff. So
I don't
lucky you.
either.
Yeah.
I just got Zombie Jason.
Yeah, damn it. I didn't even think about it. Technically, the mummy's a zombie. I should have showed off all my mummy shit.
Yeah, all I got is pops and plushies.
But speaking of pops and plushies, J Strick show and tell. Show us what you've got.
I bought an incentive this week, which I don't normally do, but I've been.
Did you unbox it already?
This is the Canto 2 #1. It's an homage to that TMNT original cover. Yes, sir.
Well, you got Papadera hair. That's what it is.
You
I like
know it.
hair. I like hair, man.
Lego hair.
I'll put my
Library
finger.
edition for Umbrella Academy.
Cool.
You go into a drag race greaser.
You know it.
That's a beautiful book, man.
Yeah,
Have you read it? Have you read it yet?
I have not.
You fucking poser.
That's not the first book in the series, though, is it? Robbie?
SH Figure Arts?
Yeah.
It's the third.
That's what I
Figure
thought. I have that first issue of Hotel Oblivion. It's like the
Oh, yeah?
dinner plate with the bugs on it.
Yeah,
Prove it.
I got it too.
I got it right
Danger,
over here.
SH Figure Arts. Well, nice.
Yeah, I bought them off some dickweed this week.
Cool. Those pose well, but I think Lightning Collection is a little better. Lightning is a little better.
By dickweed, I mean Robbie.
Argento did the Lightning collection, so it's obviously better.
It's the European version. Very nice. You got the whole set?
Yeah, I got the whole set, but I'll save those for another week. I'm just showing off the ones with the dragon shields and the White Ranger.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, man.
All right. Rockin' Robbie, show and tell, you're up. Show us what you've got. Well, I had unearthed a closet.
I proved it.
Oh, shit.
Don't ever call me out, Jay Strick. Don't do it.
I got you, son. Got you.
Oh, my
You
God.
got
He actually had to
Got
turn on the light to find it.
Yep.
So,
You know it.
this is a book I got like 20 years ago, probably. And it was in this closet. And I finally unearthed this closet. Went into it for like the first time in fucking years. Years, probably like 2 years. And I found this book, y'all, that I always have loved. Dylan's really going to like this. It's a horror of the 20th century. And it starts from like back in the day. And it's got beautiful reproductions of artwork and books and shit.
Wow.
But it's got dudes. Jay Strick. Dylan.
Dude,
Wow.
so
Nice.
beautiful, man.
That's amazing.
Why don't you-
Wow. The old schools.
And it covers everything. Movies, books, comic books.
Wow.
Weird stretch.
It's got it all in there.
Spicy mystery.
Spicy.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
It's a beautiful book, man. It's really cool. And
First edition.
it is first edition.
I know. That's why I said it.
All right. I got a few new movies because I've been in this horror movie craze. And you can always find good deals around Halloween time. Dylan, I got to give you a mad shout out, bro. Dylan, my man, you there?
Yeah.
Dylan told me last week, he's like, you better get it right now. And I did. Got my Escape from New York
Oh.
Blu-ray. Shout Factory, right?
Yeah, buddy.
Far
You
superior
got
than
Scream
LA.
Factory.
Got it
Hell
for
yeah.
the price I got it for too, bro. I couldn't believe it because it went right after I bought it. It went up to 20.
Wow, I
when
got it for like $13.
I know, because that's what
Right.
I got it for. It. So it jumps up and down all the time.
So I hear such great things about this movie, and I haven't done this in a long time, but I used to do this on the regular, but I bought a movie I had never seen
What?
because it was $5, but I
Oh.
bought this.
It's awesome. Oh, you will love it. It's a slow
I
slow
keep
burn.
hearing such amazing things about
It's
it.
so good, man.
Is that
It's
the
so
Italian
good.
cut?
I'm not lying to you.
Shut up. When I saw that, and it was funny because somebody mentioned this movie earlier, I think. Maybe they mentioned the Comet one, but this was super cheap too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Night
I've
of the
been
Treats,
debating.
baby. Oh,
I
you got to
want
pick that one up.
But I want the Shout Factory one. Like, I'm debating on
I
that
know.
one. or
I
the
saw
Shout
that
Factory.
one, but I was like,
30
this was $10, so I got this
Yeah.
one instead.
I know,
But I got
man.
some more on the way, and I'm very excited to show them off. And then here's my best thing. Some guy came in the shop and was like, hey, man, I'm just going to give this away. I was like, I'll make sure it goes to a good home.
What?
What?
Dude, look at the size of this thing.
That's fucking. Why would he give away Cthulhu?
I'm gonna open. He was moving or something. I'm gonna open this up for the first time.
He's I'll make sure it goes to a good home.
Oh man.
Oh my god, this is the biggest pop I have, and I got that enormous fucking Count Chocula one right there,
I'm surprised you can get that Batman one.
That's bigger.
bruh.
That is freaking huge.
I got like a little. You know,
It's
I'm
like
a big.
Cthulhu.
My other Cthulhu's are down there, but like, yeah, dude, look at that.
I mean, it drives you to insanity just by looking at it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, man. Pops are on their way up.
They are, but that one was cool.
The beach.
And one more thing, I opened it.
Yo, isn't it phenomenal?
Nice.
You gotta be
Oh.
careful when you take the head off. You see the disclaimer? It says like grab the ear. It shows you have to grab
Yeah,
it so you don't bend the pins.
yeah, like this.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a beautiful figure, isn't it?
it is, man.
It
It's
looks
so
nice.
like like the way they did the top with the
Oh, it's got the box. Nice.
Yeah,
yeah. It's got it comes with 2 boxes.
it does.
Yeah.
One of them is opening,
Yeah.
and he comes with another head where he's like, no suffering.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one I got him.
The only problem is it's a bit difficult to display. He doesn't want to always stand, so I got to get a
Yeah.
stand for it. So that was show and tell, and that's the show. We made it through, everybody.
Woot.
Final
First-
thoughts on anything, Jelani?
Socially distance, wear a mask, be kind to each other. It's rough. It's been a rough time for all of us. So let's be excellent to each other and party on, of course.
Jay Strick, final thoughts.
Excellent.
In the words of Scary Terry, you can run, but you can't hide, bitch.
Brooks, final thoughts.
Of a beach. I'm in.
Good night of the living dead, everyone.
I love
That
it.
joke.
Dylan, final thought.
How are you gonna have me do that after Brooks is amazing?
I'm sorry,
one?
man. I know.
I'm just kidding. Ah, man, I'll see you probably tomorrow with
Yeah, do you got a time yet? Man, that'd be good to know.
Yeah, well, they didn't even say. I was just trying to give them an area so they could tell me if that's even cool for them. They just I looked today and they didn't even say shit. So I'm gonna be like, so I guess it's just me and Robbie today. But I don't think I'm going tomorrow because it's sold out. So I think I'm more flexible on the time. I don't want to do it super late though. But I'm gonna send out.
We'll just get with them tomorrow. But tomorrow night on Dylan's channel, at some point tomorrow,
Yeah.
we're doing the best comics of the month. Saturday night, whenever you're watching this.
Thanks for having me as always, man. Fun as hell as always, man. I can't wait for next week. Already. Oh, guess what I got?
Nice. That's right, everybody.
Right.
Next week, it's Reanimator. It's the winner of the PCP Army movie poll themed Let's Fuck Jay Strick Up. Jay Strick watched it today,
God, dude.
and I cannot
It
wait
is.
to hear his thoughts
Mm.
next Friday night at 9 p.m. Central Time here on Pop Culture Philosophers for Horrorfest 2020. And my final thoughts are this from Dawn of the Dead: we must stop the killing or lose the war.